Great Thursday morning, everybody. Welcome back. It's your midday hang, Annie and Elsten. We've made our way down the hallway. We are back from the 97.3 The Fan Roundtable presented by Roundtable Pizza, and here to deliver 3 hours of piping hot San Diego sports talk, live and local with you till 2 o'clock. Gwen and Chris take over from 2 until 4:30. Then they'll replay the Roundtable. Then EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show, and then Padres, Mets, Game 1, 4-game series, huge showdown along the road to the 2024 playoffs. We're here to talk about it all with you on the Annie and Elsten show. Good morning once again after an hour in the other room. Annie.
Good morning, Craig. Welcome back, Braden. Good morning to everyone listening. Hope you enjoyed the Roundtable. If you didn't hear it, then yes, you get to catch it again later on.
Yeah, and also available on YouTube. Braden was out the last couple of days. Braden Soprenet is back in studio, fit as a fiddle and ready to fire. What's going on, my man?
Doing well. Got to I went a little too hard over the weekend with work, doing too many things working wise, and wore myself down. Did not heed the advice of my friends nor my mom about how there needs to be time for rest, and so I got hit hard on Tuesday, and I actually needed Tuesday off anyway because I'm doing pre and post this weekend. But
always listen to your mom, Braden.
that's you know what the moms always know when it comes to working too hard and too much and having time for rest. So I paid the price by getting knocked down the last 2 days. Still a little congested today, but ready to go. Feeling a lot better than I did yesterday, which was 10 times better than I felt the day before.
Well, hopefully each day is better than the next, and we continue forward the rest of the week at full strength as the Padres' journey toward the playoffs continues. It's always fun talking baseball with all the guys.
Yes.
This is normally our Padres Deep Dive Hour, and it still so remains our Padres Deep Dive Hour. That Deep Dive Hour is brought to you by Frozen Ropes Baseball and Softball Training Facilities, now introducing the Freezy Batting Cage membership for just $79 a month. For more information, visit SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com. Well, we're talking about a Padres series win over the Minnesota Twins, which is indisputably the thing that happened the last 3 days at Petco Park. Also, yesterday's game happened, which was an 11-4 loss. That was one of them brutal, ugly ones, one of the 20 usually all year that you experience and then you throw away, rarely to speak of again.
Yeah, I feel like it was one of those clunkers that you have. I think that the big thing with the Padres, at least post-All-Star break that we've seen from them, is they don't really, or they haven't to this point, had 2 consecutive losses. They tend to turn the page pretty fast, move on to the next team, and bounce back. So until we're shown otherwise, that's kind of how I look at yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. You beat a good team 2 out of 3.
Yeah, that's another thing, Craig. It was a really good team.
Yeah.
The Twins are a good team.
And they showed it. They showed that they have a good offense. And, the Padres kept that offense mostly under wraps on Tuesday, thanks to great work. Monday by Michael King. Tuesday, Perez gave up the home run, his requisite home run, but, generally kept things down. But still, you saw Minnesota had fight. They had the ability to score off good relievers, off lefties. And then yesterday, Matt Waldron got hammered.
Yeah.
There's just no getting around it. He had one decent turn through the lineup. It didn't feel like it was going to be this game for him. When you get to the 4th and it's 1-0, you don't think like, this is the Waldron blow-up game. But then in the span of 13 or 14 pitches, 7 runs came through. 7 guys came up and 7 runs came through, capped by just a monster home run into right field that left Waldron pounding his glove in frustration.
It escalated quickly. And then, look, again, not easy to come back out after that, but he was going to have to wear it for yesterday's start, and he did. He went back out. He tried to give as much depth as he could for the Padres, and that cannot be easy. So
it was brutal, actually.
Yeah, it's just not. It's obviously not a great feeling, and you look at Matt Waldron. We talked about it on the Roundtable. Matt Waldron had comments after the game that were just kind of a little bit heartbreaking, honestly. He talked about how when you're in a negative, when you think things kind of spiral negatively, it's hard to snap out of that and forget about what you did because people were asking him, reporters were asking him after the game, hey, you were so consistent for this Padres team. You've been so great this season. Does that make it kind of even harder? Or, you know you can get back to that person. And he was like, essentially, when you're in such a negative place, it's really hard to even remember who that person was or think that you could be that person again. And he said, quote, "There's zero positivity out of me right now." So he's focusing on the mistakes. He is, I think, pretty upset over the fact that he wanted to come through and help the team. He talked a little bit about an elbow that's barking, which is not uncommon for this time of year. Talked a little bit about fatigue, maybe the arm slot dropping a little bit. So they've got some decisions to make with Matt Waldron, and it is definitely not for lack of trying and not for lack of effort on Matt Waldron's part.
Absolutely. And, listen, at the beginning of the year, there was a lot of like, Matt Waldron doesn't belong in the big leagues. That was kind of like a narrative. And then that narrative was completely dispelled. And for a period of about 15, 16 starts, Matt Waldron was the most important pitcher on the entire staff. So his contribution to this team is locked in for 2024, no matter what. Mm-hmm. He had a gigantic positive contribution to this team. And I don't mean to speak of Matt Waldron in the past tense, but as the guy who brought him up in spring training, brought him up before spring training, stuck with him when he was pitching poorly at the start, but there were signs that there was growth that was occurring. This is a lost version of Matt Waldron. Yeah. And when you talk about those comments, I heard them, I read them, and what I took from that is there's struggling and there's lost at sea. And sometimes when you're struggling, you get to the point where you're lost at sea. And you just don't even think shore exists. And that's where Matt Waldron is right now. He threw a pitch mix I didn't even recognize yesterday.
Barely any knuckles. Barely any knuckleballs. Yeah.
Almost none at all. Mm-hmm. It seemed almost felt. I'm not saying he was. It felt panicky. It felt like I don't know what I'm going to do next. So what am I? I'll do this. I'll try this. Let me try this. And every single thing went worse and worse. But when he mentioned just the word elbow balky, then it was like, okay, listen. The perfect thing to do here is to give him a chance to get on the 15-day IL and give Randy Vasquez a couple of starts. In that way, whatever's going on with him from a fatigue, mental, physical standpoint, give him a reset. If he does feel good enough to work some bullpens. But the idea of like, get rid of him, send him to AAA, I think that ends Matt Waldron's season. If you send him down to AAA and he gives up 10 runs down there, then you can never use him again the rest of the year.
I don't even know what they're like. Aren't they ending minor league play soon?
In about 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah,
okay.
like low minors ends earlier than that.
Okay.
But high minors goes for a little bit.
Yeah, I think if you are going to send him down, I feel like it shouldn't be to like pitch games on. It should be to work on stuff or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not exactly sure how you could do that or form that, but I could see them putting him on the IL. He does have a barking elbow, and so if that's what is needed, then you could do that for sure, and let him. The other thing that I think they could do is kind of help him try to get through it for at least 2 more starts. I mean, they need 2 more starts from your 5th starter through this 18 games and 18-day stretch. Then you get into these 5 days off in September, so you can manipulate that starting rotation at least a little bit, and maybe even eradicate a little bit of a need for a 5th starter, or kind of just mess with it, get creative to give guys more rest. But I also thought about, hey, do you kind of make his day more of a ready bullpen day? But he has so much trouble in the first few innings that it's not. I don't know that that's going to help him, even if it was like, we just need 3 innings from you. So I feel for him because he does. I think that's Woods calls him Sad Waldron, but he's serious. He takes it very seriously, and just a really ice in his veins kind of guy, but really cares. You could tell how much he cares, and it was hurting him last night.
Well, there was a point, and it's not that long ago. It's sometime early last month where someone asked us who would be your playoff top 3, and it was pretty clear that Waldron would start like one of the first 2 games for San Diego in that circumstance. The quote that actually kind of broke my heart a little bit for Matt was the one yesterday where he said, like, the fun stuff is just about to come. Like the real fun part, which is pitching in the playoffs, is about to come, and I'm not where I need to be right now, essentially.
And maybe that is why you give him a break. That's why you have Randy Vasquez down there. That's why you have whoever else or other. I don't think they have a ton of options, but you haven't had many bullpen games this year. You have a revamped bullpen. You have Randy Vasquez down there. You give him a break and maybe get his strength and his mental back for what could be help in the playoffs.
Yeah, because the reality of the situation right now for this excellent Padres team that is barreling toward the playoffs is that Martin Perez has come in and pitched as the fourth most effective starter on this team. You need 4 starters in the playoffs. So right now, Matt Waldron wouldn't be starting a playoff spot, a start in any round, up to the World Series unless something happened. Similarly, because he is such a touch and feel pitcher who has issues sometimes at the beginning of his outings, he doesn't translate as somebody that you would put into the bullpen in the playoffs and say, oh, well, we've got Matt Waldron for long relief, because you don't know what you're going to get. And that's why he'd probably rely more on those suboptimal, fastball cutter sweeper options as opposed to the knucklers. So that's why personally, I think, like, from a strategic keep the flame alive for Matt Waldron standpoint, that's why I think IL, because if he could take 2 or 3 turns off, come back and perform at the level he did earlier in the summer, he could get into that 4th starter conversation for the playoffs. But as things stand right now, he is what we hoped he would be at the beginning of the year. He's the team's 5th starter.
Yeah, and I think they've got to kind of look at too. They know, at least maybe AJ Preller knows, I think, is the only one kind of in constant communication with Yu Darvish. But again, I think you have to look at this like Yu Darvish is not coming back, and what are your contingency plans? Because if he does come back, it makes it all a whole lot simpler, right? Like you slot Yu Darvish in there, and now you have even more weapons that you can kind of use as options here and there, but you don't have to necessarily depend on. But all the best to you. We don't know where he's at. We don't know, what he's going through personally. So I think you have to kind of go with that mentality. And if he does come back, it kind of makes their equation a little bit simpler. But at this point, I think you have those other guys available and who have done fine. I mean, look, I'm not. Randy Vasquez comes up and pitches a game. I don't think that's the end of the world.
No, I mean, gosh, honestly, I was surprised when they sent him down.
Right.
So. Hey, it is what it is, and unfortunately, that's where Matt is right now. He's in the toughest spot of the year. He's also way beyond where the contribution was expected to be for the guys. So I think you celebrate what he's done. You appreciate the contribution he's made to the club. You give him an opportunity maybe to rev it down a little bit and work on some stuff. And here's the last thing I want to say about this, and we'll go to break. We'll get things rolling on the rest of the show. Matt Waldron is in his rookie season. He's not 22 years old, but he's got 1 year of service time in Major League Baseball. This is a precious asset for your organization. A starter that can give you 150 league average innings at minimum salary, that's gold. That's absolute gold for an organization. So you don't throw this guy away. He's got an opportunity perhaps to refine his repertoire as the winter goes along, maybe embrace the knuckleball. He even talked about that last night too, right? Like, maybe I need to throw it more. So maybe there's an evolution that is still to come that allows this Matt Waldron to be a starter for 6 years here in San Diego and deliver 800, 1,000 innings for this franchise going forward. These last 40 innings haven't been very good for Matt Waldron, but there's so much more in the tank and so much more value left for the Padres to extract. It would be foolish to think that this is a guy that you need to just now dismiss.
Oh, I don't think that they're looking at dismissing him at all. But I think you have to walk that tightrope of like caring for your player in a way that's going to set him up for future success, right? Like in terms of, you don't want to you want to make sure that you're holistically looking at the player mentally, physically. What does he need? What can we not just for this year, but for his future, right? Like what does he need at this point, And then you also have to look at what your team needs, and then you got to try to figure out the best solution in the two places of that, because you also don't want to burn him or bury him. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's dismissing him. I think that they love Matt Waldron. I think it's more just like what is he realistically able to give? How do we make sure that we don't also hurt him in any way? And then what does our team need? And then you got to kind of try to move all those parts around.
Let's take a time out. When we come back, we'll keep rolling with the Padres Deep Dive Hour. Here's how the show lays out. Plenty of Padres talk, obviously, between here and 12 o'clock. We'll bring you the 12 o'clock Sports Fix at the top of this hour with all the big news from around the world, including games in play in Major League Baseball right now. As we were chatting here, Aaron Judge hit his 48th homer of the year. He's now on a 61 homer pace, which the Yankees immediately put up on a graphic, so that's why I know that. I wasn't out here with a calculator figuring it out. But
you didn't have like a little calendar behind you where you flip
48 equals...
Another one for Judge.
Oh, okay. No, it's right there. It's like, you can't see it, but it's right over there.
Can I say something too? Okay,
Yes.
Sorry. It's 11:16. I know we got to go to break.
No, of course.
We played that Winker thing yesterday,
Yeah.
okay? And his home run celebration. And I'm going to defend myself a little bit here. I cannot see the TV behind me and his celebration, and it buffered.
It did buffer.
Buffered a lot. And so all I saw Jesse Winker do is go trot around the bases in a nice, open up his arms as he ran into the huddle. I did not see the helmet slam. We missed whole chunks of it that I then saw later. Still don't think it's, look, again, I don't care that he's celebrating with his people. I think he just needs to not talk about other teams celebrating.
Yes.
That's all. Okay, but I thought about that yesterday. I'm like, that buffering got me yesterday big time. I didn't realize we missed an entire portion of that home run
And
truck.
we had seen it. We had seen the replay live.
Yeah, I did not.
During a commercial break. When you were out of the studio,
Yeah.
we're like, oh my God, you got to see this. No, absolutely. And by the way, Winker said he blacked out
Well,
during his celebration.
that's what happens sometimes, Winker. So have some maybe empathy for other people who celebrate.
Bingo. Guess who else blacked out, Jesse? Jurickson Profar on a particular Monday night after hitting a 3-run double off Hunter Harvey. He blacked out on the field. What do you know? Go argue with a guy behind home plate. Okay. I just really hope that dude's in the stands tonight, and I'm sure he is.
It's going to be a spicy. I feel like this is going to be a spicy series.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I can't wait. And we'll talk a lot more about it. Of course, we said 12 o'clock Sports Fix at 12. Today's silly game, as everybody knows. And we'll have a fulsome Mets series preview coming up at 1:15. When we come back, it is our State of the League, our daily update. And guess what? It was a bad night to lose a ball game in the big leagues. Each of the last two shows, Braden, when you were away, the title of this segment was, it was a good night to win a ball game in the big leagues because everyone else won. So, kind of important that you win. Last night, bad night to lose a ball game in the big leagues when almost everyone else wins at the same time. But I think there's some really important perspective. We touched on it a little bit during the roundtable. Because it's deep dive, we're going to get deeper into it next segment. A little perspective on what's going on with this Padres team and what they've accomplished in order to be in the position that they are right now as the playoff chase keeps changing and evolving day by day. We'll bring you the very latest next. Danny and Elsten right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile. You can get tons of benefits and still save on every plan against AT&T and Verizon. Use their savings calculator to find out how. Go to T-Mobile.com/switch. Annie and Elsten back with you. Annie Halpern, Craig Elsten, Braden Soprano here as well. We go till 2 o'clock today. It is your Padres Deep Dive Hour. And as we've started to do and presumably shall continue to do, until all the races are resolved, sometime at the end of September or a little bit before, who knows. Time for State of the Race, time to figure out what happened and where we are after one more day peeled off the calendar. And it was a bad day to lose a ball game in the big leagues. The Dodgers completed their sweep of the Seattle Mariners, who apparently may now fire Scott Service and are just in the midst.
Struggling.
Yeah, they're in the midst of a collapse.
Yes.
You better keep in that collapse all the way through Vetter Cup games 3 and 4, Seattle. You better not wake up just for us, you jerks.
They are the MLB-made rivals for the Padres next year. So,
Yes,
right.
they are our standard geographic rival, as everyone knows.
Now, well, it was always our rival,
Yeah.
but now MLB is like on the train of making it.
It's just so
Padres rival.
hilarious.
Right.
We were given almost like one of Ben's stupid drafts,
Yeah.
where they had rivalry week, and they're like, okay, the Mets have the Yankees, and the Dodgers have the Angels, and the Giants have the A's, and these two teams don't have anything.
Anybody.
Oh, well, they both live in Peoria. They are geographic rivals. No, we're in San Diego and Seattle. How about that 1 month? You're in Peoria.
If they're going to
Rivals.
make them rivals, which they did, then they better include the Vetter Cup. Like, you can't
100%.
do it any other way, MLB.
Needs to become a real thing. Cup needs to become a real
Right.
thing. Someone needs to go down to that corner trophy shop somewhere off 52nd Street and get, about a 12-inch trophy, nothing too big, that can be put officially in a back cupboard somewhere in, like, the promotions department. Like, I think that's about where it belongs for either team's front office. Nonetheless, okay.
7.5 games now out of a wild card spot for the Mariners.
Yeah,
and
they're dead.
yeah.
Basically dead. They're 500. Remember when we were 500 around this time of the year? We're almost done comparing to last year, Annie.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, and it was like every time it's like, okay, well, 500, we're still in it, we're still in it, we're still in it. All we got to do is win 16 out of 18. It's like that's what they're doing right now. They're clinging to false hope.
It's really going to be, I mean, we don't have to get a ton into the Mariners, but it's going to be a case study for them because they had terrific pitching. You're going to look back and you're going to be like, you feel like you wasted a year of just absolutely dynamite pitching.
Yeah. Here are the two things. So, okay, just first off, right through it, right? Diamondbacks finished their sweep of the Marlins.
Right.
So good on them. They did one better than we did. They went down to Miami and they swept.
And they kind of came back, I think, in yesterday's game. And
Well, they gave up a bunch of runs. They
Okay.
started off ahead, and then they gave up some runs. And you're like, oh, maybe they're going to actually tank
Yeah.
this. But no, 10-8
10-8
was the
for the
final.
Marlins game.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a wild game. The Mets, as we talked about on yesterday's show, walked it off. Atlanta finally dropped a game, but they had won a few in a row before that. So they're at 8 games over. Arizona and San Diego are at 16 games over right now. And the Mets are below the line. They are at 5 games over right now. So San Diego is a 5.5 game lead on the New York Mets, who they will play for the next 4 games. The Giants are 2 games behind that. And critically blew a lead yesterday to lose to the White Sox and not sweep Chicago. I'm telling you, I'm petrified of that series. Right before the end of the last week, because it's just like that. It's just like that, right?
I feel like this team is different. This Padres team where it's...
Yeah, but when it's sweep or die, you know what I mean? Like, you have to sweep the White Sox. Like, when you're in a playoff chase, you have to sweep this lousy team. And when you give up a game, that's baseball, but also it stinks.
Yeah.
Like, it's the worst thing. So, anyways.
At that point in the season, especially.
Especially.
You do it at the beginning of the season, it's like, it's a long season.
Right. Oh, well, we took 2 out of 3.
Right.
But like when it's right before you play the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks.
Is that at a Petco or is that...
It's a Petco.
Okay.
I believe it's the last home series of the year.
Oh, amazing.
That is correct.
Okay.
So there you
Where's
go.
your schedule, Annie?
It's all torn to
It's
shreds.
torn to shreds.
You
right.
should. I thought you were gonna laminate it.
I thought she was too.
Laminate next year's. Be on the ball for next year.
Oh my God.
Look at this thing.
It's just
Been through hell and back.
Yeah, I guess I could rip off the one half, but
Looks
I like to have
looks
it.
like Sammy the Pug got
right.
to it.
Right.
Honestly,
Okay.
looks like you dripped a little sauce on it at one point, and then Sammy thought it was a meal. So again, the Padres now tied with Arizona. LA won, so you're 4 games behind LA. But here's a couple of things. First off, we're not a 500 team anymore,
No.
so you don't have to panic about every gosh darn game. Like,
No.
we're a good team, and I think this team has enough to go all the way.
And they're winning series. Like
100%. So I just wanted to offer this moment of perspective because maybe it's because I was talking to some folks. We did a podcast last night on the Hot Tub Discord. I'm seeing some of the discourse on social media as well as on our Discord, and people being like, "Oh man, boy, it sure is disappointing to only take 2 out of 3 when the Dodgers sweep and the Diamondbacks sweep. Like, oh, it's tough to take 2 out of 3 and lose a game in the standings. Boy, that's really rough going." And I'm like, hang on, everybody. So if you felt like that at all in the audience, hang on and listen to something for a second here, okay? The goal is to make the playoffs. There are 6 teams in each league that make it. I'm sorry if this sounds pedantic, but I feel like it's important to repeat. There are 6 teams that make it in each league. In our league, each year, the number 6 team has made the World Series. So whether you finish 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, the goal is to make it. And if you make it, you've got a chance to win it. Oh, well, we made it, but we're the 5, so, oh, God, No, the goal is to make it. So if the Diamondbacks are going to win 9 out of every 10 games from here to the end of the year, we're not going to keep pace with the Diamondbacks. So be it. Who cares? If the Dodgers decide they're going to win every game between here and the end of the year, you can't control that. There's nothing you can do about it. Who cares? Trying to match their pace is the way to lose this race. It's just, I'll go back to that Olympic distance running example. The pace is so fast right now. Like, if you can win every game, great. But the idea is to make it. So I look at this series against the Mets, take care of business here. Next week, the Cardinals. And the week after that, it's the Giants. And the week after that, it's the Giants again. And if you win those 4 series, you will make the playoffs, period. You will make it. And then, as you've heard me say 50 times now, Annie, get to the last week, look up. Where are we? Are we close enough to LA to catch them? Let's go full bore. Are we close enough to Arizona to pass them? Let's go full bore. If we don't have that, let's get our playoff rotation in line, and let's get ready to kick butt in the playoffs because this team is good enough to make it no matter where we finish.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with that. I think that you have to look at this like it's not going to stay the same between now and the end of the season. Like, it could bounce around quite a little bit, and the Padres are in a good spot. The Diamondbacks are in a good spot too, but who cares, right? Like, as long as your team is in a good spot and you are, I say, kind of controlling your own destiny, but what I mean by that is you're not needing other teams to lose for you to make the playoffs. That's what I mean by that. So that's where they are right now. They are in the wild card. They do not need any other team to do anything else as long as they continue to play at somewhat the pace that they're playing and don't slip out of that wild card spot. And they've got a pretty healthy lead over the Braves right now, even in the bottom wild card spot, right? So I think you're going to drive yourself crazy out there you're going to drive yourself crazy if you look at it like on a night by night basis. Now, and I don't wish this for them, but if the Padres were to kind of slide a little and another team were to come up a little bit and it looked like it was in jeopardy of losing a wild card spot or whatnot, then I think, okay, I get it. I understand the concern there. But at this point, like, I certainly don't expect the Padres to win every game from now until the end of the season.
Right.
And I don't expect them to win on the nights the other teams win, and I don't expect them to lose on the nights the other teams lose, and it'll drive you crazy.
It'll drive you crazy. And I seriously, I was interacting with some folks who were keeping this 15, 16 game over 500 team as if they were 500. Like, every game is, hey, if we were a game over 500 today, I would literally be saying this is a playoff series this weekend. And when we were in spots like that earlier in the year, we're not in that spot. We have won our way out of that spot. Now we're in the spot of, as Ben said, if you split the series against the Mets, you've really hurt the Mets. That's 4 head-to-head opportunities for them to take down a team ahead of them, and they walk away from it, and they get nothing. They get nothing. They get a 0. So 2 games this weekend really is terrible for the Mets. They have to win 3. They have to win 4 to get. We don't have to win 3 or 4. We have to win a couple of these games. If we win the first 2 games, we're playing house money the rest of the weekend. So take care of business tonight and see where it takes you from there.
And as Tony said in the roundtable, you just want to be playing your best baseball. Like, you want to be going into the playoffs feeling very confident about how you're going out to play the game every single night. And they have built that right now. So you want to kind of protect that. You want to, whether or not that results in a win or loss, I mean, obviously they want to win, but you want to make sure that you're leaving the field every night going, okay, we played the way we needed to play tonight and the way that we would want to play in a playoff game or whatnot. And I think that that's kind of the mentality that they've had here in this post-All-Star break.
And last thing about the standings, and we're going to go to break. Milwaukee actually blew a game last night. They were ahead, and they gave up the lead, and then they lost to St. Louis. Big win for St. Louis, sorta. They're 2 games under. But Milwaukee's 20 games over 500. The Dodgers have 76 wins. The Phillies have 74, and the Brewers have 73. And, I mean, they were a blown lead away from being at 74 and 22 over yesterday. Nothing is settled. Like, we've had the whole year this filter of like, oh, well, if you first place, that's going to be Philly, and then second seed, that's LA. And of course, if you make the 6, you get to play Milwaukee. They're the 3 seed. Like, LA could be the 3 seed. Mm-hmm. Philly could be the 3 seed. The top teams, the battle right now is around 22, 23 games over 500 for control of the entire National League. The Padres are at 16. You're 1 perfect week from being in that fight, but the point is, nothing is settled. So that's just why I wanted to say that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm seeing it. It's not championship mentality if you're wild. Who cares? Winning the championship is the championship mentality. That is it. The process and the road to get there is just the road you took. It's winning the title. So you can't worry about what seed you're going to finish in. Just be playing well at the end of the when the tournament begins.
Yeah, and it could change so much. I mean, if the Dodgers, the Phillies, and the Brewers were so far away with the race, then you could kind of go like, okay, well, that's pretty much locked in. But they're freaking out a little bit on their ends. There's very concerned Phillies people right now, very concerned Dodgers people right now. Same with the Brewers. So I think that it's kind of. It's wild. I mean, it's going to be a wild card and a wild division race all the way through to the end, unless someone absolutely dominates or slips. But right now, you just have so many teams that are playing decently good baseball and keeping themselves in the race that I think that you got to kind of respect that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fun race. This is a super fun race. So let's take a break. And we'll keep watching this race day by day. And here, right now, we've got a big head-to-head. We got the Padres and the Mets coming up for 4 games. New York's a good team, but I think we're a better team than New York. And it's time for the Padres to go ahead and push the Mets a little bit closer to the exit door. When we come back, Annie put out a great story yesterday via social media. I'd like to talk about it on the radio. Jeremiah Estrada, a Lego store, and connections. That next on the Padres Deep Dive Hour right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Hey, fantasy football team owners, get ready for the draft with Reception Perception. Whether you're in a PPR league or not, wideouts will make or break your fantasy team, so that's why you need to listen to a podcast that specializes in wide receivers. Don't get embarrassed this season with a new tattoo your friends pick out on your behalf. Not actually a requirement of being in fantasy football, but just in case you thought it was. Listen to new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. Get ready for draft day with Reception Perception on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, Deep Dive Hour wrapping up here. Talking Padres baseball on Annie and Elsten. And Annie, Adam pointed me this morning to something you put on Twitter last night. Great story about Jeremiah Estrada. Take it away.
Yes, Jeremiah Estrada, who hadn't pitched in a while before yesterday.
Yeah.
So it was not top of mind until he was pitching yesterday. But really cool story. He used to build Legos all the time with his brother when he was younger. Little family separation, so he wasn't around his brother as much. And he remembers those times really well about building models and Legos and all the cool things that you build with when, you have a sibling and you have fun with that. So when he was in Korea, I guess they had these cool statues. They're not Legos. They're to me, they look like Transformers or something.
Okay.
But
all right.
anyways, they were around the hotel, and he was alerted by someone inside the Padres organization that he could go and buy these kits to kind of build them on his own. And he said he likes to do that in his free time. So he has Gundams. Am I saying that right? They're Gundam. Anyways.
Sounds good at me.
Yeah. Gundam?
Sure.
Gundam. Okay. Anyways, went to this store in San Diego, but didn't know what he was looking for. It was very foreign to him in terms of what should I buy? What should I get? So there was this kid in there, 11-year-old Luke, who was talking to his mom and knew all of the kits. He was telling his mom, oh, this one has this one has that. I could do this with that. So Jeremiah thought, okay, let me ask this kid a few things. And Luke took time to walk with Jeremiah around the store and point out, this kit, you could do that, or you could build this, or here's what's cool about this one. And Jeremiah was talking to him and learned that Luke loves to build kits and Legos and build whatever these are with his little brother as well. So he was touched by that, remembering his times doing that. And toward the end of it, he wanted to show his appreciation and kind of spread love for the hobby. So he said to him, hey, if you could have any kit in the store, what would you get? And Luke picked out the smallest, most inexpensive kit. He said it was $70 or something. The big ones are $300 or whatnot. And he kept asking him, are you sure you don't want a big one? And Luke was like, no, this is good. Me and my brother, this is what we love. It's fine. And so that wasn't good enough for Jeremiah, of course, and he ended up buying him and his brother each a small kit for themselves, but then one of the big, huge ones that they could share and build together, which was just so cool. And then at the end, he said, hey, do you like the Padres by chance? And Luke was like, yeah, I love the Padres. And he said, well, if you're ever at a game, you should come swing by the bullpen. I'll be in there. Say hi. And Luke realized that Jeremiah's a big league player and that he just met a Padres player, and just the two of them formed this little friendship. But, Jeremiah never expected for that to get out there, but Luke's mom told the story, and he answered the questions when asked. And so just a cool example of someone who takes a lot of time with kids. People were DMing me or tweeting me experience that they've had with Jeremiah, where during a pregame or whenever he's out there or some kind of thing with kids, how much time he takes with the fans and how much time he takes with kids, and giving their own stories about him. And it was really, really cool to hear all these other stories come in about Jeremiah and just how much he he gets it. He loves the kids. He loves the spirit of the game. He loves giving back. And I love that about him.
What an awesome story. You can't help but root for a guy. And Jeremiah Estrada didn't have a clean path to Major League Baseball. He's dealt, as we've talked about on previous episodes months ago, he had COVID in the absolute worst way. Yeah. At the time before there were vaccinations and before people were able to have mitigation, he had it bad, almost to the point, I think, of getting intubated, and really, really affected him, maybe continues to affect him to this day. So the fact that he is just so self-aware. You know, he's in an incredible place. Even just getting big league minimum, he's getting a salary that is way more than most people will ever experience in their life. And to have that level of gratitude while he is going, enduring this season, and his role has changed along the way, so on and so forth, but he's just got that joy. Just makes you want to root for him even more his next time out there.
Yeah, it's really cool. And it's cool when it's just kind of happening behind the scenes and people, like I said, they come through with their own memories and their own kind of stories of, I met him earlier this year and this is what he was like. And, like lots of guys on the Padres or within baseball that are doing good things. And when you hear about that and someone who, again, never meant for this to get out there, just was doing this because it was a hobby to him and enjoyed sharing it with another kid who was helping him in the store, just tells you a lot about who he is without even all the spotlight on him. It wasn't like he was at some big event and the cameras were on him, and he was just doing this because he thought it was cool, which makes it, I think, even more special. He had for Players Weekend some custom kicks, and he really represents where he's from, which is Palm Desert, and apparently had like the In and Out on there and the 760, and just he understands like what it means to be here and what it took to get to this place, and I think that's a really cool part of him because he's pretty relatable in that way.
Incredible story, just great stuff, and let's hope that Estrada is in there and blowing strikes past guys. And okay, so I was just on like the online Gundam store.
They're like plastic.
That's right. It looks more like models.
It's like a model kit, right?
Yeah, like when you built a model airplane or a model of the Eiffel Tower or whatnot. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if you actually use glue, but I'm guessing you do. It looks like one of the things that you'd use the model glue and get in there with that little not microscope. What's the word? The little glass where you can look at it and everything's in it. Anyways.
What is that word? Yeah, no, not microscope.
Not microscope.
Magnifying glass?
Magnifying glass. Thank you. The one with the little light, kind of like these rings that we have.
Well,
I can imagine Estrada
he probably had to ask Luke all those questions. How do I do this?
Right.
What do I need here? It wasn't just, that's what I mean. It wasn't just Legos. It was like these kits. So that makes more sense. Like think of it like building the Eiffel Tower or a model airplane, but it's like these like Transformer guys.
Yeah, they look cool. Yeah, they definitely look really cool. Incredible story, great stuff. That is so sick. Just briefly back to the Friars. We talked about this a goodly amount on the roundtable, but looks like we've got ourselves a set situation at shortstop, and it looks like we've got a short-term situation at shortstop where Tyler Wade is going to start against righties. And Mason McCoy, who was just called up yesterday, got his first big league hit yesterday, will probably get the call against lefties. So probably Wade starts today, tomorrow. Probably McCoy starts Saturday, Sunday, because it's two righties for the Mets, followed by two lefties on the mound for the Mets. But beyond that, it locks in that they didn't even want to keep putting Xander over at shortstop in the ninth like they did that first day. They really want to just keep this with those two guys in that position. Don't mess with anyone else's defensive alignment. Everything else stays the same. Just put those two guys out there. And the biggest thing I take away from that, more than the discussion of tactics and strategy, is they're confident Ha-Seong Kim will be back when his 10-day IL stint is over.
That's it. I think this isn't going to last very long. So they're like, why are we going to move everything around? Why does everyone need to move around? Like, we can plug this. Our lineup is good enough to overcome any shortcoming that maybe have, or maybe not. I mean, look, these bench players have come through for these guys time and time again. So I don't even think that they look at it like it's a shortcoming, but more defensively, I think they feel like they can plug it for these next few days.
Yeah, and that's all you need. Catch the ball. Yeah, I mean, would it be great if our 8-9 hitters got big hits each of the next 4 days to help us sweep the Mets? Tremendous. The Mets would love the same thing.
Yeah.
If their guys came through at the bottom of their order. Like, it's baseball. We've got a good deep lineup. Higashioka's been terrific for the most part, even if he's a little cold right now. Maybe he comes through. Maybe Wade comes through. Wade's come through a dozen times for this team this year. 0 for 11, as Tony said, 0 for 11. And now everyone's like, okay, well, we got to do this, that, or the other thing. It's just because we got nothing to complain about. Team's been so good for so long. Stick with this way. If they made any other change, I'd say, Kim's out for a while.
And you just want to try to make sure that you're playing as clean defense as you possibly can, you know? So I think that Ha-Seong Kim, as we know, is an elite defender, not having his best year, but still having a good year, still knows what he's doing over there at that shortstop position. And you just want to plug that hole as best you can.
We've got like a minute left before we go for the top of the hour break. So this is something I just wanted to mention when we went through the standings before. I was just looking at it and it kind of stuck out to me. You go to the American League side. We rarely do. American League side of the standings. I go, okay, who are the best teams, right? Well, the Yankees. Oh, yeah, we played them. We lost 2 out of 3 to the Yankees. The Guardians. Oh, we beat them. We beat them 2 out of 3. The Astros haven't played them yet. Orioles, we beat them 2 out of 3. Royals, we beat them 2 out of 3. Twins, we beat them 2 out of 3. Red Sox, we beat them 2 out of 3. Tampa Bay, we haven't played them yet. That's the top 8 teams in the American League. Only one of them have we even lost a series. We've beaten all of these good teams. It's a great sign of a great team that's got a great chance, whoever they line up against, going forward. Let's take a time out. When we come back, we hit the 12 o'clock sports fix, including a manager reportedly set to be dismissed in Major League Baseball. That plus active scores, PGA leaderboard, and more, all after this timeout on The Fan. Gorgeous day in San Diego. We have hit the lunch hour on a Thursday. It's Annie and Elsten, your midday hang on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3. Welcome back with Annie Heilbrunn and Braden Soprenet. Fresh off the bench once again. Craig Elsten here with you. We are together in our Odyssey studios and ready to deliver your sports news of the day just as you get ready to heat up whatever you brought to the office to eat for lunch today. Everything going on in the world of sports delivered to you all at once on the 12 o'clock Sports Fix. We put it together for you every day on the Annie and Elsten Show, and we start it every day by asking Annie what's going on in Big League Baseball.
Okay, we have a lot to get to in Big League Baseball today. Joey Votto has stepped away from baseball. The star first baseman who had been on a minor league contract with the Blue Jays announced his retirement on Instagram yesterday evening. He never got to play in the majors with his hometown team, but he did play an illustrious 17-year career with the Reds, who drafted Votto out of a Toronto prep school in 2002. Across his 17 big league seasons in Cincinnati, Votto had a .294 batting average with 356 homers, 1,144 RBI, and a .409 on-base percentage in over 2,000 games. He led the National League in on-base percentage 7 times and was a Gold Glove winner in 2011. Per Ken Rosenthal, the Mariners are expected to fire Scott Service and name Dan Wilson their new manager. The Mariners have turned a 10-game lead in the American League West into a 5-game deficit in the standings with an elite pitching staff and a subpar offense. Apparently, they are blaming that on Scott Service. He is a sacrificial lamb in this case. Wilson, who will be his replacement, played for the Mariners from 1994 to 2005 as a catcher. He has had roles around the Mariners since, but he has never been on a big league coaching staff or managed at any level. The Dodgers have designated Jason Hayward for assignment, according to Robert Murray, or on Twitter, by Robert Murray. They have an upcoming roster crunch with Chris Taylor returning from the injured list. Hayward had a pinch hit 3-run homer to lift the Dodgers over the Mariners on Tuesday night and seems to be a team favorite. The Cardinals option infielder Nolan Gorman to AAA Memphis. A fellow infielder Jose Fermin was recalled from Memphis as the corresponding move. Alex Bregman returned to the Astros lineup yesterday as a designated hitter. He hit a leadoff homer in a 4-1 loss to the Red Sox. It was his first at-bat in a week, as the two-time All-Star hadn't played since last Wednesday because of inflammation in his right elbow. He said he is still not at full strength. Speaking of the Astros, they are reportedly bringing back right-handed reliever Hector Neris, who was released by the Cubs earlier this week. The Pirates designated right-hander Ryder Ryan for assignment. I did not know this. Ryder is the brother of old friend River Ryan for the Dodgers.
River and Ryder?
River and Ryder Ryan, and they are both pitchers.
Did they spell it R-I-D-E-R?
R-Y-D-E-R.
R-Y-D-E-R.
And I thought, I didn't honestly look. I mean, are they, I don't know. I don't think they're twins, but they might be. I don't know.
Is River spelled R-Y-V-E-R?
River is R-I-V. I think River is normal. They should have done River R-Y-V.
Yeah.
They should have stayed consistent.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on, Mr. Ryan.
Yeah, that's lame. That's lame. But yeah, River and Ryder Ryan. Okay. The Padres lost to the Twins yesterday 11-4, but they did win the series. They now start a 4-game set against the New York Mets starting tonight at Petco Park. It'll be Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres and Luis Severino for the Mets.
We got Wrangler Ryan coming up later and Roper Ryan and all
Like
the
Rodeo
Ryans.
Ryan.
Yeah, and they're all going to be pitchers.
And then my last son's name is Clyde.
Yeah. Here's Clint.
It's River and Ranger and Ryder and
They need to do
Roper
like Rain. Like
and
they have
Clyde.
River and Ryder, Rain Ryan, and
Rain
like Rain,
Ryan.
R-A-I-N-N or something.
Yes.
You know?
Ryan.
Yeah.
So
Oh my
nice
gosh.
you say it twice.
The girl on Below Deck, the Chief Stew,
Yeah.
she's dating, her last name is Scott, and the guy that she's about to be engaged to his first name is Scott. So it's Scott.
Scott.
But
Scott,
except they're
Scott.
going to take her last name. That's an aside, everyone. But
And more directly, here's Braden with the baseball scoreboard.
had to get that in there.
Yeah, thank you for the below deck reports.
Doesn't have anything to do with Major League Baseball, but
What's that show with Andy Cohen after the thing? Watch What Happens
Watch What
Lives
Happens
or
Live.
something?
Yeah.
we'll
Andy
do-
Cohen, big Cardinals fan.
He is a big Cardinals
He did name
fan.
his dog after
Albert
come on.
Pujols?
No, he was with the Padres last year. Pitcher.
Matt Carpenter?
No.
Wait.
Not a pitcher.
Yeah.
Pitcher with the Padres
who's
last year.
Who's with the Royals right now?
Michael Walker.
Michael
Waka. No, I don't know if he named his. Michael Waka was a bartender on Watch What Happens Live. I think his dog's name is Waka too. Yes, Waka.
All right.
Let's move on.
That's enough about Andy Cohen
And Michael Waka.
and Michael Waka.
Away we go.
Got enough scores to report for today, so we'll start with today's scores. Nationals up on the Rocks
I don't know
5-1
if the
in our
train can
nation's
get back on
capital in
the
the bottom of
tracks.
the seventh inning. What do we do in our Watch What Happens Live segment with Annie Halbrin?
I'm gonna mute
the
my
show.
mic right now.
She turned it off. Yankees have a 5-0 lead on the Guardians, bottom 6. Scoreless between the Brewers and Cardinals, top 4 in St. Louis. I'm sure Andy Cohen is dialed into that one. Cubs lead the Tigers 5-0 in the bottom of the third inning. Other games going on later today. Tampa is in Oakland. The Cincinnati Reds are in the Steel City. Halos are north of the border. Astros are in Baltimore. The Phillies are down in Atlanta. And the New York Mets will take on the San Diego Padres tonight to start a 4-game series here in San Diego. Dylan Cease for the Padres going against Luis Severino of the New York Mets. That will get underway at 6:40 p.m. Pacific time. Got a lot to report on when it comes to football when I come back, but first, here's Craig. Got some good golf news out there.
Absolutely. It is round 2 of the FedEx Cup playoffs. That is the BMW Championship in the Denver area, Castle Pines. Now, this is both an incredibly lucrative and incredibly important 3-week stretch of golf, and also for 2 of the 3 weeks, it is the single most confusing tournament in golf history. Why is that, you ask, Craig? Because
Why is that? I asked Craig.
because just winning the tournament isn't really the whole thing. There's the tournament and there's the tournament leaderboard, but there's also the FedEx points standings. So the goal, the top 50 in the FedEx points standings are playing in the BMW Championship. Their goal this weekend is to get to the 30, the top 30. So if you're someone like Scott Scheffler, who's number 1, he could pretty much mail in this week, and he's still going to be in the playoff. He's still probably going to be number 1 in the playoff next week because he's accumulated so many points over the course of the year. So really, this weekend's tournament is about the guys 50 to 31 trying to squeak up with a big day, or the guys 15 to 30 trying to avoid falling out with a bad week.
That makes sense.
So it's like, here's the leaderboard, but okay, where is each one of these guys relative to that in the point standings?
Comprehensively.
Right. How does this matter? Like, just as an example, Keegan Bradley is currently leading round 1 of the BMW Championship. Through 15 holes, he is at 5 under par. He started the weekend 50th. He was the 50th and final to get into the tournament. So right now with his good round, he's gone to 46. But if he keeps going,
Right.
he can get up into that top 30. So it's kind of like you watch this and you're watching the leaderboard, but then you're watching the little numbers next to each guy's name going, okay, what does it mean for you? What does it mean for you? So
Yeah.
on and so forth. So, okay, now you all understand. Here we go. Bradley, 5 under. Sung J M and Adam Scott are 4 under. Scott currently playing himself into the final week. He just crept up to 30th. Siwoo Kim and Xander, our guy Xander, who's locked in at second. So like Xander can do anything, and he'll be second next week. And
Okay.
and then
Doesn't matter what else happens right
pretty
now.
much,
Right.
pretty
okay.
much, he'll be second next week. And then what happens is next week, Scotty Scheffler first. He starts the tournament 10 under par.
Oh, wow.
And then like Xander will be 8 under par, and someone else will be 6 under par, and then the last guys who make it are even par. And then you play that tournament, and the winner of that tournament wins $25 million.
I guess if you're going to win $25 million, you have to kind of
You
have
do.
some parameters.
Yeah, so it's like it's not just okay, Scheffler's the best golfer all year.
Yeah.
He still has to win next week.
Right.
Even though he gets a lead, he still has to win next week. So that's what makes it an American playoff.
that's cool.
Not just a classical table. Matsuyama won last week. Hideki Matsuyama, he is also tied with Xander Schauffele at 3 under par with a host of other golfers. Wyndham Clark is at 2 under par with Akshay Bhatia. Will Zalatoris, part of a group of about a dozen at 1 under par. There's your first round leaderboard. Rory is there too. He's at 1 under. Rory is 7th in the standings right now. And all of those numbers subject to move as the weekend goes on. Moving on. San Diego Wave FC just this morning announced another international signing. French defender Perle Maroney has been signed to a contract through the 2026 NWSL season. The 26-year-old takes an international roster spot and is expected to contribute right away as soon as her P1 visa is locked in. She comes from 3 seasons playing for Olympique Lyonnais in France. Maroney will join former French national team forward Delphine Cascarino, who has already made the move over to the U.S. She was signed right before the international break and is expected to make her debut when the Wave under Landon Donovan take on Angel City FC as the NWSL season finally gets back underway. And it will do so on Saturday afternoon at Snapdragon Stadium at 1:30. Also, and we'll get into it more later, but the NWSL announced just like, oh, by the way, we've got a brand new collective bargaining agreement, too, that they came to during the Olympic break. They used their time quite wisely. A new deal through 2030 that completely revamps the way that the league works, including eliminating their draft altogether.
So how do teams choose the player?
More on that later.
Okay.
More on that later, but it's much like European football clubs do.
Oh, okay.
All the contracts are guaranteed. Everyone has complete freedom of movement.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be a completely new world for American women's soccer. The Seattle Kraken, a little NHL news, have agreed to a 7-year contract with center Matty Benier that locks up the first ever draft pick in franchise history and former Calder Trophy winner through the 2030-2031 season. Benier's new deal averages just over $7 million a season. That's it for me in the grab bag. Let's head over to Braden, who's got high school football starting tonight. It's August 22nd, Braden.
That's right, and it's a Thursday, but obviously with the ref shortages that we still have, there will be a lot of games that are played on Thursdays for varsity teams throughout San Diego, including tonight. We have 6 games in the San Diego section playing tonight, a couple out in Imperial County. Game number 1 will be Central at Harappa Hills. Central High School's Jared Martin is player to watch. Ed rusher Martin has only played 7 games last season, but is rated a 4-star player by 24/7 Sports. Ranked the 33rd best player in California. 6'3", 210 pounds. Explodes off the edge. Had 33 tackles, 7 sacks, and 5 TFLs last year. In 24 career games, he has 104 tackles, 26 sacks, 25 tackles for losses, and 17 quarterback hurries. He is a commitment to TCU out there in Imperial County. Other Imperial County game for you, Southwest El Centro is at Holtville. Games in San Diego County tonight, Vista's at Fallbrook, Mira Mesa's at El Cap, and Mount Carmel is at Otay Ranch. Top 10 to start the season according to San Diego Union Tribune. Number 1 in the county, the Lincoln Hornets, followed by Cathedral Catholic at number 2. Granite Hills gets number 3 nod, followed by Mission Hills 4, Carlsbad 5, Mount Miguel in the top 10 at number 6, San Marcos at 7, Helix at 8, La Costa Canyon at 9, and the La Jolla Vikings come in at number 10. They got 16 starters back from a year ago. That is the preseason top 10 that will come out each and every Monday from the local media members in San Diego. That's it for high school football. What's going on in college football? I don't know if you guys have been following this story the last couple of days, but it looks like Delaware State will make it, after all, to Hawaii this weekend, albeit after some significant travel issues. The Hornets football team, ahead of its season opening game at Hawaii, is on its way to Honolulu despite missing its scheduled flight Tuesday because of a shuttle bus delay. No changes have been made to the scheduled time of the game, which is set for Saturday at 6 p.m. Hawaii time or midnight Sunday on the East Coast. In fact, Hawaii Director of Media Relations Derek Anucci told USA Today Sports Wednesday that the Rainbow Warriors athletic department is working with Delaware State to adjust practice times, but there have been no discussions about rescheduling the game itself. Everything you need to know about Delaware State's travel issues ahead of its game against the Rainbow Warriors. Well, they missed their flight, so therefore they have had to book a bunch of different flights for their team and travel separately. I think it took up to 3 or 4 different flights. Because of the trip to Honolulu from Philadelphia or Baltimore is nearly 5,000 miles. Delaware State preferred to take a direct flight from JFK, but they missed it. So now they had their team on multiple flights trying to get their way out to Hawaii.
Wow.
Fun stuff.
Jeez Louise.
In college athletics. You miss the flight, and all of a sudden, you got to go take a bunch of different flights. According to an athletic event agreement contract obtained by USA Today Sports, Hawaii is obligated to pay Delaware State $180,000 to participate in the game. The agreement was signed by the president's athletic directors of both schools in late February and is fairly typical for Hawaii when it plays FCS programs to fill out its schedule. By comparison, a similar athletic event agreement contract also obtained by USA Today Sports shows that the university is obligated to pay Northern Iowa $165,000 for a game to take place in September later on in the year. It's tough getting out to Hawaii. I don't think the $180,000 is going to cover a lot of the stuff it takes to get out there. But Delaware State is expected to play in the game coming up this weekend. Other news for you in the National Football League.
Bum, 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 bum.
Carolina Panthers said that second-year quarterback Bryce Young and the rest of the Carolina Panthers starters will make their preseason debut Saturday against the Bills in the final game before the regular season. This will be Young's first live action against another team outside of a joint practice against the Jets in the new system implemented by first-year head coach Dave Canellis. Canellis decided to play starters on offense and defense for the first time this preseason, even though the Bills are playing their reserves in the 1 p.m. contest at New Highmark Stadium. Bo Nix gets the nod to be the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. He is the first rookie quarterback to start the opener since John Elway. And as reported before, or an opinion piece by our CBS or whatever, Infinity Sports Network Minutes, said that they're going to try to make him the Drew Brees 2.0. We will see what happens there.
Well, that's
Wow.
easy. Just make him Drew Brees 2.0.
That's right.
Can they
Sean
laser
Payton.
print him to
Right.
be Drew Brees 2.0?
No problem.
Yeah.
When Nix lines up behind center for the September 8 regular season opener in Seattle against the Seahawks, he will be the first Denver rookie to start a regular season opener since John Elway in 1983. A lot of expectations for Bo Nix. A lot of expectations for a lot of rookie quarterbacks this year in 2024. A lot of trades going down as teams are trying to cut their rosters down to 53. Washington Commanders traded their 2022 first-round pick, Jahan Dotson, and 2025 fifth-round pick to Philly in exchange for a third-round pick and 2 seven-round picks in 2025. By acquiring Dotson, the Eagles secured the number 3 receiver to complement A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, both of whom received long-term contract extensions this offseason. 2 division foes making a trade as we get down to cut-down time. A lot of trades are going to happen before they announce their 53-man roster.
Makes sense.
And
Makes
that'll
sense.
do it for the football report.
Well, Braden, while you were away yesterday, we started the process of trying to come up with an adoptable football team for me/the show for the season coming up.
Oh.
Because, we have to cover the whole NFL season all year. I mean, it's the
Might
big-
as well root for one of the teams.
Might as well. I mean, I'm never going to ever again root for that team.
I mean,
That one
how
up
much
the
you
road.
love, how much you love Harbaugh. I
Yeah.
thought that was going to be my first selection there for you.
Yeah. So yesterday,
Just wants to go to every Harbaugh presser from
That's
now
right.
until.
every day.
Anytime.
Hey,
Well-
Adam, can we send Craig up to the Charger press conferences?
Well, we could then become a daily segment of boop 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 boop. Are you a hypocrite? Which was yesterday's segment for Jesse Winker. So this is what we came up with yesterday. We came up with the Lions as a team that you can get behind. Gritty, blue-collar city. They've been downtrodden forever. They've never won anything.
Take a part of your kneecap out.
Dan Campbell, kneecaps. They've got a really fun receiver, right? Amon St. Brown.
Amon Ross St. Brown.
Amon Ross St. Brown, right?
the
He's
USC
really, really
Trojan.
good. So that was a choice. The Colts were brought up. Send It Young quarterback, and also that great song that Ben and Woods plays in the morning.
Yes. the new hype song for the Colts.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask.
You.
I was gonna ask, is that more cringe than the dudes in the Padres jerseys on KOSI?
It is.
It's less cringe.
It's less cringe.
Yeah.
It's less
yeah.
cringe. I feel
Yeah.
bad for the guy because
Less
he worked hard on that.
I like him. I think
Right.
they're catchy. He keeps the same first few sentences and then he just changes it and then he adds the nay
You
or
could
whatever.
tell, like, I don't want to make fun of that
Yeah.
guy because you could tell those songs make him happy, and I'm not here to
Right.
like
Yeah.
rip the guy that's happy doing that. Which I'm
Production
sure
value is strong.
I'm sure he's getting crushed on social media. But you know what? It puts a smile on that guy's face.
Yeah, and it's a pretty decent song. It's okay.
It's catchy.
It's okay.
I can see tailgates grabbing onto it. You
right.
know?
So we've got the Lions, we've got the Colts, and then also
Tigers and
suggested
Bears.
was the Vikings as a Kevin O'Connell. Easy to root for Kevin O'Connell. Obviously, they don't have J.J. McCarthy this year, so I don't know what kind of year it's going to be, but.
I said the Bears because
And Annie said the Bears. And
because they're
yeah.
on Hard Knocks and
Bears
you
are on
can
Hard
follow them,
Knocks.
and they're gonna have like probably drama.
And Caleb Williams is
Caleb
exciting.
Williams, see what happens.
Do you have any thoughts?
Backup quarterback and Brett Rippin works out at Fitness Quest. You got some San Diego connections there.
There you
so.
go.
Yeah.
I mean, this is I'm trying to
We have the
build an inner
Lions, the
circle.
Bears, the
And then I
Tigers.
figured like we'd let the first 4 weeks of the season kind of,
Dictate.
yeah,
Well,
kind
I
of
think that's a
weed
good
out.
idea because we're gonna be
What bandwagon do we want to jump
There
on?
better be there will probably be I will go with probably. There will probably be a reason for us to stay engaged in MLB all the way through the playoffs.
Yes.
And then even, whatever, all the way through, till the season ends. So I don't think we have to make our decision right now. We can make it
Yeah.
when the season ends.
Oh, so that's it. Right between here and kickoff on the 6th, Braden, we just need a group, and I think I should put the cut at 5 of 5 teams that could be the Annie and Elsten We Root For You NFL team.
You hate San Francisco so much, so
Correct.
we can't do that.
Can't
Even
do that.
though
Maybe
that's
we could
a
send
ton of
letters
San
to
Diego
the teams
connections.
and let them know we're considering giving them our support. And like, would they give us any kind of like swag or any kind of like reason for us to support them over the other
Yeah,
teams?
because NFL teams are really needing that
Right, and they're gonna-
looking for it.
If you
They're
like
gonna
send in
want
a
us.
thing to send you like a fan pack, they'll send you some stuff. Sometimes they do that.
I remember I did a story for the UT when the Chargers left, and a fellow did that. He tried to pick his team, and he went to every team, and he said, "Why should I pick you? The Chargers left San Diego. Why should I pick you?" I think it was the Colts that gave him like the most
Most gear.
best answer or best gear or something like that, or he thought that would be the best thing. But people have done that, yeah.
I think the Houston Texans are a fun team this year. They'll be fun to to root for. I'll be watching the Dallas Cowboys, and I spent time in Texas enough where I know most of the teams. So that has been my team since the Chargers left. And the bet people always go like, "Oh, why would you pick the Cowboys?" It's like they're the America's team. Everybody hates America's team, and I said because they're just like the Chargers. They fill the void every year. They're expected to do really good things, and every year they go 500.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
perfect fit. It's a perfect mix.
Yeah, can't root for the Cowboys. I don't think I could root for anything in the NFC East.
See, I think I could. I think we could go with the Chiefs, but
Yeah,
I can't jump on the Chiefs
can't jump.
bandwagon
Yeah, too
now.
big a wagon.
I've been on the Chiefs bandwagon.
Just big old red wagon.
I can't do the Chiefs.
Yeah. Someone
Although-
suggested Cardinals, no chance.
No, they're a circus.
I grew up a Rams fan, but they're LA. I can't do
It's
it.
too close.
You
yeah.
can't go
I
back
can't-
to the.
can't
Too
do
close.
it.
Wait,
Right.
hold on. You like the Lakers though?
I do, but the Rams left LA. They went to St. Louis at
they
that
came
point.
back.
They did come back. I rooted for them that one Super Bowl they were in against the Bengals. I
They
rooted
came
for them
back.
to win.
They weren't in LA for just 1 year, too.
They came
True.
back, Craig, and they're like the anti-char. They're like the team that just owns the Chargers and everything. It's not as crazy as you think. I think it's okay.
That's true, but that's me on a San Diego sports station rooting for the Rams. It just
But you root for the Lakers though. It's
I
not,
do, but that's childhood. That's deep
But
seated.
you rooted for the Rams as a kid. It's not. I think you're overthinking about it.
I might be.
I
I
think
might
you're
be
overthinking it just a little
What
bit.
if they get off to a great start?
Okay, put him in the group.
They're
Put him
in
in the grouping. Put him in the
Look
grouping.
at the Raiders.
No.
I used to hate the Raiders as a Chargers fan. I now F with the Raiders. I like the Raiders. I like they're not very good, but
49ers, that's
I love watching the Raiders play. I respect the Raiders now.
You
the
hate
Raiders-
San Francisco,
Yeah,
so
I
you won't
can't
do 49ers.
Yeah, I can't do
Yeah.
the
The
Niners.
Niners is an easy one though, Craig, which stinks for us on this deal because they got a lot of San Diego players on the Niners.
Plus, then I'd be rooting for Scraby's team. I mean, he's
The
already
Ra-
marked that territory on these airways.
The Raiders are always going to give you entertainment, though. There's always going to be something that is entertaining.
Titans, not bad. My family has
Mayonnaise man.
jumped on the Titans bandwagon because my sister lives in Nashville, and my brother went to Tennessee. So my parents have jumped on the Titans bandwagon. It's not bad. Nashville's nice.
Yeah.
They're like the Chargers, too. That's another team that's always expected to do something and then falls apart and chokes in big games. So
Buffalo.
it's a very easy transition.
Hey, listen, the journey continues.
I think
Tune
we
in
have good
tomorrow
cases
for another.
these.
Who are we going to pick?
Yes.
As the journey continues.
I think what we should do is you take the 32 teams and you slowly start eliminating teams as the days go on, and be like, "This is why we can't root for this team."
Yeah.
We have a board, and then we cross them
How
off.
many days
Cross
we got
them
until
off
the
list then?
How many days we got until the first day? Is it September 8th?
Yeah, it's a couple weeks, right? The 6th, I think. Thursday the 6th, probably.
We'll let that first
right.
one go by. We
Right,
got
right.
17 days until the NFL
Gotta let a
home
few go
opener.
by. Let
Yeah.
them get their.
So
And
we
you
should
can-
cross off a
Their
couple
rhythm.
I mean, I can
couple
eliminate
teams a
right now the
day.
Patriots. I will never, ever in my life root for the Patriots. The C words, I'll never root for them again,
Okay.
ever, until I'm dust.
Not even then.
Not even then. Not even
All right,
then.
let's
My
see,
dust will accumulate on the top of
Dust
something,
won't
and it'll spell out, "Dumb Dino is so dumb." How dumb is he?
We have
Yeah.
10
No Florida teams. I can never root for a Florida team.
Why?
So
10 more
I don't like
shows.
Florida.
Oh, okay.
10
Wow,
more
wow.
shows
just, I don't like it.
starting tomorrow
Harsh.
before the NFL Sunday
Just
opening
took out a whole state.
Yeah.
opening
Done.
day.
No New York teams either. I'll never root for a New York team.
Okay.
So we'll take
Like-
there's 32 teams in the NFL.
No
We've already
Boston
crossed
teams,
out.
no
we've
Niners.
already crossed out the Chargers and the Patriots. So
Yeah.
tomorrow we have to eliminate 3 teams.
Easy.
And we have to eliminate 3 teams a day until
Until we get there.
September 6th. Can we
Perfect.
do that?
Yes.
Be ruthless about it.
100%. 100%.
I forgot one in the sports fix.
Uh-oh.
The Angels have
You
reached
can't
an
go back
agreement
now.
on an
Can't go back
extension
now.
for GM Perry Minasius.
Nobody
Why?
just no, you missed the sports
see.
fix. You're gonna have to wait till
I
tomorrow.
should've
Everybody
I
that just
should've- I
heard
should've
that,
succumbed to the pressure.
plug your ears.
You're right, because you're right, Braden. I could have just done it tomorrow.
You could have done it
It
tomorrow.
We're
could've
so
let off
overdue
my
for a
sports
break.
fix
Let's take a
tomorrow.
break.
All right, I'm gonna add to the list the 32 teams, and we're gonna start putting X's in them.
I like it.
We have to eliminate 3 teams. That's the homework for tomorrow. Eliminate 3 teams from the list.
Easy. This will be easy for a week. It might get hard at the end, but it'll be easy for a week.
Are we just doing you though, or are we doing
No,
a
we
collective?
we can
All right.
collectively agree.
I can't wait to hear everybody's case on why they
I'm
want to keep
completely
teams.
open-minded
I like
to
this.
us collect. If we collectively agree on a team, then I'll go all in on that team. It doesn't have to be my team.
It's gonna be great when we get time.
It's got to be a group. But if it's all individual, then I'm going to pick my team.
No,
but
I-
if we want to do it as a group,
I think we need to do a group one.
then I'm in.
I can't
I'm
wait
in.
to hear Annie's case for the Chiefs.
Can't be the Falcons.
I'll
Oh,
give you
wait,
my
we can just do that
Cowboys
tomorrow. We can do
deal.
that tomorrow.
Yeah,
All right.
well, everybody will have their little case. I like
Yeah.
it. Sounds good.
All right. When we come back, I've got a lot of stuff in the grab bag. Plus, we're playing Everybody Knows coming up. So let's get right to it. It's Annie and Elsten on the Fan. We're going to do this segment quick because we got Everybody Knows coming up, our very fun game show. Trying to qualify one more person. We got about 7 more shows, I think, on this particular run to get you to Resorts World Las Vegas and tickets to see Carrie Underwood Reflection. So, how about this? Update on a story that we did earlier in the week. Earlier in the week, Tyreek Hill out at Dolphins camp said he wants to race Noah Lyles. Says he will beat Noah Lyles, the gold medalist, fastest man on earth, 100-meter gold medalist. And that's kind of where we had it. That's where we had the story. Was Tyreek Hill like, I want to do this. I'm going to win.
He used to run track. We know he's fast.
Yeah. Noah Lyles has responded, and I like where he's coming from, which is, okay, you want to race me, the fastest man in the world, then show me the money.
Ooh.
So what he told NBC News, Noah Lyles said to NBC News, quote, I mean, if somebody wants to sponsor the event and we're racing for millions of dollars and it's on a track and we're running 100 meters, then sure, we can race. But it has to be legit. I'm not here to do gimmicks. You're racing against a guy who has worked his whole life to get the title of the world's fastest man. And you've worked to be a great football player. You can't jump the line just because you're a great football player.
Whatever. Listen, I think
That's all we need to hear right there.
If they run 40s, 40s are what they're doing in football. Why can't they run 50? Like, why does it have to be 100? I feel like that's a little.
Probably because Lyles knows 1 billion% he'll win at 100 meters.
He will probably win, right?
And he probably feels that at 50 he will win 99.9%, and he wants the 1 billion% over 99.9.
I mean, I don't just look. If Noah Lyles is correct, he has worked his entire life to be at a reputation and a standing and a championship level that he has been. And I guess it would only really be a fair contest if then Noah went and played football.
Right.
Try to cover him one-on-one.
I guess. I mean, because you're really at the disadvantage. I mean, Noah is standing on his winning and his career that he's built, and it's Tyreek that would be coming over and going into his world.
Right.
So,
But Tyreek's the one who said that he would be able to win. So he's the one who's thrown the gauntlet, so to speak, right? So
and Noah's taking it very seriously.
Saying, hey, you want to beat me, you're going to beat me on my track at my game because you said you could.
Yeah, that's true. It's not like Noah was like, I can go play football and beat Tyreek Hill at his own game. Right,
so
yeah.
This is just the last part of it because we got like a minute in this segment. Michael Johnson, which is probably our greatest sprinter, weighed in because, see, Tyreek Hill ran track.
He did.
He's got official times. His best official time in the 100 meters is 10.19 seconds. Lyles won the gold medal with 9.79 seconds. So,
good race.
Obviously faster, right? So Michael Johnson tweeted and said, a 10.18 sprinter claims he can compete with the world's best. Nobody pays attention because it's ridiculous, right? But when it's an NFL star, things change. I get the intrigue, but unless that race happens, the media attention puts them on equal footing. And who does that hurt? I actually do take his point in that Tyreek Hill is way out of school in saying what he's saying when he actually has track times that would make him in the top 250 in the world, and Lyles is number 1.
I think it could be all fun and games. You could even maybe do it for charity, except that it's not fun and games for Noah Lyles. It is literally his life's work. So
Bingo.
I understand his point of being like, because he didn't put the call out there.
Right.
If he had put the call out, but it's Tyreek putting the call out.
So who wants to show him the money? Show him the money. Put it up for $5 million, and he'll run the race. And I don't blame him. I think it's the right attitude to take. Okay, when we come back, it's time to play our daily silly game. Well, every week we play 4 different silly games over the course of the week. And today, up on rotation, it's Everybody Knows. We all love this game. This is the game of ridiculously easy trivia. You're going to have to answer 10 questions in just 60 seconds. It seems like that's a lot to get through in just a minute. But the advantage is all the questions are pretty pretty easy. You probably know the answers. You probably know the answers to all of them. And whomever you choose between Annie and I to compete against, all you got to do is tie or beat us, and you'll be qualified for our end of the month grand prize drawing to head to Resorts World Las Vegas and see Carrie Underwood Reflection at Resorts World Theater. So we're looking for a contestant at 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973 is the number. Braden will screen you up, and we'll come back and we'll play Everybody Knows Next. It's Annie and Elsten on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Time to play silly games. It's Everybody Knows today, the game of ridiculously easy trivia. Just a reminder that Carrie Underwood returns to Las Vegas with her critically acclaimed production, Reflection, the Las Vegas residency at Resorts World Theater. In fact, that residency has been extended through spring of 2025. Tickets for both this year and next on sale now at AXS.com and also RWLasVegas.com. Okay. If you can beat or tie Annie or I, and Everybody Knows, you get the chance to get into the hopper. I think there's still fewer than 10 people in there fighting for qualification.
We are officially at, give me 1 second. Eight entries.
There you go. So you could be the 9th person to get in there. All you got to do is win. And today's contestant on Everybody Knows is Clay in San Diego. Hi, Clay. Welcome to Annie and Elsten. How are you? Doing real well, thanks. Before we play the game, tell us a little bit about yourself. Amazing. Have a good feeling that we used to be in the same building before. You too, brother. It's good to hear from you. All right. Well, Clay, here's how the game works. It's very straightforward. It's called Everybody Knows. Braden's got a card with 10 trivia questions on it that he will read to you, and you will have 60 seconds to give him all 10 correct answers. If you go 10 for 10, there's no way that we can beat you. So that will be your dub locked up. However, if you do come up even just a little bit short, host comes in. They're not going to be able to heard it. They'll come back, hear the same 10 questions. All you have to do is beat or tie the host, and you go in to win. Would you like to take on Annie, or would you like to take on me, Clay?
I feel like you and I know a lot of the same things for some reason, so let's try Annie.
Fair enough.
Completely thought Clay with your relationship.
I know.
You want to
was
take
gonna
him
go
down.
with Craig,
Yeah.
right?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Oh.
He's going tactics instead. You got to respect a man who's trying to aim for tactics to win. As a guy who likes to play games and win, I understand it myself. Okay. Annie has left the studio. Clay, it is you and Braden now, and I'll be keeping score over here. Good luck.
Right on.
All right, Clay, 1 minute on the clock. After I ask you your first question, most correct answers win the day's contest. Question number 1. How many strings are on a ukulele?
5.
4 would be the answer on that one.
Yeah.
Not that I would know what that is. What? All right, I know what a ukulele
a
is,
little
but not
mini
how many.
guitar.
But I don't know how many strings. I don't know if 4 would have been my guess. What does the element H stand for on the periodic table?
Hydrogen.
Hydrogen is correct. What was the name of the mascot of the Cleveland Indians?
Can I pass and come back?
Yes,
Yes.
you can. What do you call the grassy area of the front or backyard?
The lawn.
Lawn is correct.
Get off of it.
Old Lang Syne is the song.
Syne. Old Lang Syne.
Auld Lang Syne is the song sung on which holiday?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Say it one more time.
Auld Lang Syne is the song sung on which holiday?
Hanukkah.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
How long does it take the Earth to spin once on its axis?
24 hours.
1 day, 24 hours is correct. What is the male cow called?
Bull.
What is the name of the oven used to fire clay?
A kiln.
Kiln is correct. What's the name of the cord connecting an unborn baby to its mother in the womb?
The umbilical cord.
That is correct. What does the Midas touch turn everything into?
Gold.
Gold. That is correct.
And back to your pass.
Mascot of the Cleveland Indians back in the day. His name was?
Little Hiawatha.
Incorrect.
Chief Wahoo.
Chief Wahoo is what we were looking for.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
How
Okay.
many did he get, Craig?
He got 7.
7.
7.
Still not that bad.
No, it's a perfectly good number. All right, Annie. Clay's answers are complete. His score is locked in. And now Braden will read you the exact same 10 questions in the same order, and we'll see how you do. Good luck, Annie.
Okay, Clay.
How many strings are on a ukulele?
God. 2?
4.
4.
Sorry, I didn't get that one right anyway.
Okay.
What does the element H stand for in the periodic table?
Helium. Hydrogen.
It was hydrogen.
He
Dang
would be
it.
helium. H is just hydrogen. 0 for 2 is a rough start. What is the name of the mascot from the Cleveland Indians back in the day? What was the mascot of the Cleveland Indians? What was his name?
Indian? I
It'd
don't
be-
know.
It'd be Chief Wahoo.
Chief Wahoo.
All right. Well, you got to get the next 7 correct to tie.
It's a tie, but that's good. That's good news for Clay. But
What-
here we go. You're going to get on a roll. I can feel it.
What do you call a grassy area of the front or backyard?
A knoll? Like the grassy
No,
That'd be the lawn.
the lawn.
knoll.
Old Lang Syne is the song.
Syne. Auld Lang Syne.
Is the song sung on which holiday?
Christmas.
Oh,
New Year's Eve.
Year's Eve.
How long does it take the Earth to spin once on its axis?
365 days?
That'd be 1 day, 24 hours.
Oh,
What is a male cow called?
You're going to get this one. I feel it.
A male cow?
Yes.
Mr. Cow?
Yes, indeed. That's correct. It's Mr. Cow.
That would be a bull.
A bull?
What is the name of the oven used to fire clay?
The oven used to fire clay?
Yes.
Mr. Oven.
Starts with Mr. Oven. Easy bake oven.
Just give me a hint because I've already lost.
Yes.
Starts with a K.
Starts with a K.
Ends in an N.
Kraken?
Kraken. Almost.
That'd be kiln.
Kiln, that's it.
What's the name of the cord
the next
connecting
guess.
an unborn baby to its mother in the womb?
Umbilical cord.
There we go. What does the Midas touch turn everything into?
Gold.
Gold.
Into mufflers. And
I guess Clay's strategy was correct.
Clay wins.
Clay tactically did come out with the right call there.
365 days for the Earth to spin on its
This
axis.
is really going
sad.
slow. It's just really, really, really slow.
That's a long freaking day. And that's a rough night. Jeez.
The 12 o'clock sports fix lasts for like 2 months.
It was a long, I would say it was a long week, but it's just a regular week.
I will say
Just a normal
I was going to
It's a
say
normal
it.
week.
I was going to say it before I asked Andy the questions. It was a tougher card.
It was
I
a
don't know how
slightly
many
tougher
Clay
card.
get. How many did Clay
He
get?
got 7.
He got 7.
He missed
7-2. Final
ukulele, he missed Chief Wahoo, and he missed the New Year's Eve one.
Oh, see, that was one where the second it came out of my mouth that it was Christmas, I knew
Yeah,
it was New Year's,
yeah.
you know?
Well, you
Old
also
Lang
went
Syne.
helium
It's
and then
because-
hydrogen.
No.
So
yeah.
you're on that
oh,
one, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were on it. I
And
mean,
then
yeah.
you were distracted for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Laughing at yourself, which is fun.
Which made for a much more entertaining segment anyway. So.
Mr. Cow.
Mr. Cow.
That is one where it's like, you know it, but I mean, like, I should know bull, but
You're put on the spot. It's different.
know.
Then you miss a couple that it's like
know.
panic time.
yes.
Mr.
I
Cow.
was not, I was not ready in the clutch at
As
all.
opposed to Mrs. Cow, which is the female
Which
cow.
is the cow.
Just the female
We
one.
just call her Cow. Cow and Mr. Cow.
What is this song called? I've never heard of it. I'm
Old
sure-
Lang Syne. Of course you
Old
have.
Yeah, you've heard it,
Should
you've heard it.
old acquaintance
I didn't know that was
be forgot?
Old Lang Syne. Nobody
Should
told
old acquaintance be forgot? Old Lang Syne.
Old
Yeah.
Lang Syne.
Old Lang
Never
Syne.
Yeah.
knew that was the name of the song.
Yeah.
New Year's Eve. I always think of that,
Mr. Cow.
it was like a Sex and the City episode
Should Mr.
where they're
Cow.
like running to each other's houses, or it was the
not
movie
get
or
his
something.
milk?
Anyways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Cow is an all-time answer.
Maybe the best answer in Silly Games history.
The other thing too with the axis,
No, that was
the
fun.
axis
That
thing
was
is
fun.
definitely the you're thinking right. Is that around the sun or is that a
Yes.
day? Like you get confused when you're on the spot. I totally understand.
But then you say it and you're like, oh,
Wait, that's
I'm
not
an
right.
idiot.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Does it take a year?
Jared
okay.
Goff still thinks the sun rises in the west.
Clay, just stay right there. Stay right there. Braden will get your information during the break. And we hope we sent you to Las Vegas with a big smile along
Great
the way.
job, Clay. Nice strategy there.
Well done, sir. When we come back, we reset the show and get you ready for a big series between the Padres and the Mets. Back with you for hour number 4. Well, that was a fun finish to hour 3, that's for sure. It's Annie and Elsten here with you on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan, with Annie Heilbrunn and Braden Soprenet. Craig Elsten together in our Odyssey studios overlooking Murphy Canyon. To mollify the chat, let's just show briefly, this is the box of Everybody Knows, the game I bought at Barnes & Noble.
Yes.
For this show because I thought it would perfectly translate to radio, which it turns out it does.
Do we need to pull out the card?
Instinct is right. So,
It's not Braden
it should be on the,
came
it should be
with,
one of the ones on
it
the
came
side.
with cards. See, and we're just pulling the cards out of the box. So we did not write these questions for Clay or anyone else. It's Everybody Knows. You can buy this and play at home. You can play along at home.
That's right.
I mean, if you really, 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 really want to get an inside edge, you could buy this, open every card pack, just memorize every single card, and then work on getting in at the exact right time, and you'd be a guaranteed winner. Be an absolute guaranteed winner.
But it still doesn't guarantee you a trip to Vegas.
No, it does not. However, we'd respect the hustle. We would respect the hustle.
Some good comments in the chat for sure.
Yeah, Anthony, no.
Justice for Annie.
Adam did not reimburse me, but nor did I ask him to reimburse me. So
I guess if you should ever have a last day, you can take that box
I can
with
take
you when
that
you walk
box
out that
and
door.
roll on out the door because I take my game and I'm going home.
That'd
Or
be
you
the full,
made it all the way down and you're like, no, I need my game.
Oh, I forgot the game.
But your key card doesn't work, so
Oh,
you gotta
no! Be like,
call
please
someone.
give me the game.
That's
They're like, we'll mail
he's
it
got
to you.
2 of those games though. He's also got Mind the Gap.
That's
in
true.
there as well.
The Mind the Gap questions are mine too. So,
And your whiteboards.
and
Yeah.
I bought the whiteboards. That's
Yeah.
a great point.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, in small ways, I subsidize our silly games, but it's all for the greater good of playing silly games and having fun.
And it counts for the free pizza you eat every Thursday.
Point taken.
There you go.
I could have coffee if I wanted to, if they've put cups back. We've got this incredible coffee machine. It's super cool, actually.
It is incredible. It's like a Keurig on steroids.
It
Yeah.
really is, and the quality, to be honest, has been really high to me each time. I've been like, this is good because I
It
drink
is
my
a-
coffee black.
Solid cup of Joe.
It is, like some cups, some coffee's not so good. You drink it black,
I agree.
You're like, oh, extremely bitter, extremely acidic, etc. This one, nice, smooth, and the coffee mugs all walked out of the Odyssey Palace up
on
here.
their own.
Just somehow they all grew little eggs
I found some the last time I was in there.
and like out of here.
Wonder if they were all in I can't believe there's a dishwasher in there. Maybe they were in the dishwasher.
There is a dishwasher in there.
What, you think someone actually washed the dishes?
That's why they installed the camera there. Isn't that psychotic?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
camera gets me every time. There's a camera that's just
There's
like,
a camera
staring at you.
there to everybody that films the people putting the dishes back so they wash them.
And you know what I used to do when I got mugs, when there were mugs?
I always do a little dance for the camera.
Do you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what I would do is I would do the wash the dish dance. Is I would come back and I'd wash the dang cup and then I'd put it right there
Rinse it.
so that the next person would be able to get it.
Now, you
But
do have people in the chat that are saying, bring your own.
I could. I mean, sure, bring your own, but then now I got to bring it home. The whole point is that the Odyssey Palace comes with a beautiful coffee machine with coffee mugs. Not that it comes with a beautiful coffee machine, your own mug required. Like the mugs are part of the experience,
God
the
forbid they
corporate
have
experience.
disposable cups.
Thank you.
You could have that.
they could
and
do
save
that
a lot of
too.
money. But
I mean, all I'm saying, it's a nice machine you got over there.
and we're not using it.
Shame something happens to your cups.
That's right.
This is a scam.
The camera just kills
I wonder
me.
if you walked around to all the sales desks.
There's like
if you
50 cups
Right, they're all,
over
the
Yeah.
cups are all just.
Oh, I guarantee
sitting
it.
Yes, stacked in within each other, just stack of
Well,
stacks.
you got to know where you got to know where like the extra cups are, which
The
are in
secret
some of those
stash.
cabinets. Yeah.
Mm.
There's a couple cups that are like kind of awkward looking, and you're like,
I saw
I
one
don't
of them
wanna use
yesterday.
those,
Thank you. I
but
saw
I
one of
will
them
if I have
yesterday,
to.
and I was like,
I got to be really desperate.
if
to
I
use
was
those cups.
completely desperate, yes, but otherwise, that's someone's cup.
I got to
you
have
know?
the right cup. I
haven't
have
had
to have the right
coffee
cup.
in over a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that
By choice?
Yeah. I'm doing a little quitting coffee. We'll see how long it lasts.
How much do you normally drink?
I just really just drink in the morning. No, that's not true. I usually just drink, probably like a 16 ounce in
Yeah,
the mornings,
yeah.
and then sometimes in the afternoon.
Mm.
another iced coffee or something.
Yeah.
Well, now we know
So-
the Mr. Cow situation.
Yeah, now you know. I've just been drinking tea. But,
I've been drinking a ton of tea the last 2 days. Tell you
Yeah.
that.
first few days are the hardest.
I used to bring a big thing of coffee with me to all my PA jobs. And then recently at Wave, they've set up a coffee and a tea machine and like tea every time.
yeah.
Tea is so good when you're on the air. Coffee actually will restrict your vocal cords a little bit, especially if
will.
you put the junk in it, the cream and everything.
Yes.
So, yeah, hey,
It's probably why I wasn't very good on the game just now,
needed a little caffeine along the way. I too have
No,
been
no
weaning
excuses,
myself.
no excuses.
I too have been weaning myself. I drink way less than I used to.
Yeah,
When I was working at Soccer's, I drank probably 30 ounces of coffee a day, like
Wow.
24, 30 ounces of coffee a day. Yeah, and now I'm down to like maybe 6 to 8, honestly, or 8 to 10. Usually, it's good.
Yeah,
It's good.
feel good.
Not what we're talking about the whole day, but what we talked about right then. Let's hit reset on some of the topics we did talk about earlier today and really take a look forward, right, Annie? Because, listen, the Twins series, it's in the rearview mirror now. Padres won 2 out of 3. Great series. Got bombed in the last game.
Yes, we're on Padres now. Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Bombed in the last game. No big deal. I mean, not no big deal, but that game happened. You took 2 out of 3. So moving on. It's time to face the New York Mets. And in this circumstance where the Padres are right now, where our mentality is all focused on, oh, God, is Arizona going to win? Oh, God, is L.A. winning? What are we doing? Where are we in reflection to them? I'm going to repeat something I said back at 11, which is don't worry about it. This is a good team. The Padres are a good team. And no matter where they finish in the standings, when they make the playoffs, which I believe they will make the playoffs, they're going to have the ability to line up and beat any team that they're matched up against in the first round, from L.A. to Philly to Milwaukee to Arizona to Atlanta or someone else, okay? They're going to have the ability to beat that team. So getting all worked up about, oh, God, we took 2 out of 3, but we lost a game in the standings. We're losing ground. Like, don't worry about it. The thing that the Padres can accomplish right now, Annie, is they can batten down the hatches. They can beat New York or even split with New York and have ripped 4 days off the calendar where New York did not advance on you at all. You win the series against New York, and then you got St. Louis next week. You got San Francisco the next couple of weeks. Those are the teams trying to climb up into the picture. You can knock them all out and basically print playoff tickets after that.
Yeah, you just worry about yourself. You can worry about continuing to win series. The Mets are 17-15 since the All-Star break. Like Craig said, Jesse Winker had a big pinch hit walk-off home run yesterday, so they got the series win over the Orioles. A few numbers for you. They rank 9th in slugging, 16th in bullpen ERA. So not playing at the level the Padres have been playing since the All-Star break, but definitely fighting to make that wild card spot. And after, honestly, remember when we were watching the Mets? And remember, the Mets did sweep the Padres when they were in New York. But remember when we were watching the Mets at the beginning of the season and their announcers were like, this is like the lowest of the lows for the Mets.
Yeah, right. Rock bottom. Week 2.
Yeah, rock bottom for the Mets. And they've held their own. They stayed in the race, and they're trying to get back into that little brave spot right there.
So, looking at this, and we can start to get into, well, we'll even do more of a preview in the next segment, but, just kind of looking back at what was, Padres had a pretty good offensive series against Minnesota, against a tough staff. The Twins were one of the better offensive teams I've seen recently. I don't think we got Baltimore on their very best day offensively that one weekend. Obviously, the Dodgers weren't quite at full strength when we played them last, but we've seen plenty of good teams along the way. And I thought that the Twins, in the right matchups, the Twins had some guys that weren't necessarily household names, but were pretty darn good sticks. And they gave this team a good run over the course of 3 games. It just so happened that yesterday, Matt Waldron had the worst 17-pitch stretch of his major league career, as a 1-0 game turned into 8-0, like almost literally before you could even warm somebody up in the bullpen.
Yeah, yesterday was kind of to me, it was just a clunker. It was a rough day for Matt Waldron. Offense tried to get something going there, and it did a little bit toward the end. Another home run for Jackson Merrill. Some tough at-bats. I thought they were still trying to continue to get something going, but to me, it's the same thing that we've been saying since the All-Star break, which is don't let it turn into a slide. You turn the page. They're still in this stretch of 18 games in 18 days. And like we talked about in the roundtable, they go on the road next week. So you're trying to do damage here, and they've been fine on the road, but you're trying to just do damage here against a Mets team that is kind of, it's not desperate, but it's not in the playoff box yet,
Right.
So it's got to get itself in there. And right now you have a chance to kind of keep them pushed out.
I mean, the Mets are 66 and 61. So if they need to get to 86 wins to be able to feel confident that they're going to make the playoffs, you got to win 20 games down the stretch. That's a decent amount for New York. So you're going to experience this the next 3 weeks, Padres fans, unless, God forbid, unless our team goes on some sort of downward skid. For the next 3 weeks, you're going to experience the Padres playing teams that are desperately in need of wins but don't have solid footing. So the Mets are the first of those teams. New York needs a big win streak. If they could get a big win streak, they could catch the Braves in their own division. If they caught the Braves in their own division, they could take, a spot in the wild card seedings. But they've got to get on a roll. Next week, St. Louis. St. Louis is a couple games under 500. They are now at the point where they need a 10-game winning streak. So, Tampa Bay is just a couple games over 500. That's the next team on the docket. And they're going to be a team that is desperate to get wins, and they need to get on a roll. And later on, after a Detroit series, you get San Francisco away, you get San Francisco at home. That team has to win 10, 12 games in a row. So these series are much less about being on a roll yourself as opposed to preventing any of these other teams from getting on a roll.
Yeah, well, I would say that I think the Padres have to focus on continuing to play their brand of baseball and winning series and just doing what they need to do. But in the meantime, I think that you look at like what happened with the Pirates, you look at what happened with the Nationals. I mean, they eliminated them,
Right.
they took them out, so not the exact same thing because those were sweeps of those two teams, both on the road and at home. And the Mets already swept the Padres on the road, but they have a chance here, to ruin some playoff aspirations or at least put a big dent in them, but also just to make things better for themselves, right? Just to continue to keep playing their style of baseball and continue to keep putting themselves in a good spot. Whatever that spot is, it's in a playoff spot one way or another come September.
Taking a look at what's going on with the New York Mets, there's a couple of players that aren't necessarily household names that you probably need to get to know over the course of the next 4 days. Francisco Lindor, of course, great two-way shortstop, having another very good year this year. Brandon Nimmo, probably. He's been in their outfield for a long time, good on-base player. JD Martinez, we've seen him in the division, in the past. Great DH, very tough. Pete Alonso, Starling Marte. These are kind of like the classic Mets. The guy who's come up as a young player and made a gigantic difference for this team is Mark Vientos.
Third baseman.
Yes, he has been one of their top prospects, but he wasn't their actual top prospect. They actually thought Brett Beatty was going to be the guy at third base along the way. Vientos has taken the job. He has taken it by storm. He is 24 years old. He has 20 homers in just 286 at-bats with a 280 average and an OPS of 894, OPS plus of 151.
He leads the Mets with OPS there with that number. And then second to him is Francisco Lindor at 816. So, and then those are the names, like you said, we're more familiar with. But yeah, he's had a nice year.
Yeah, and he'll be hitting like second in the lineup for the Mets over the course of this weekend. He hit a gigantic homer yesterday off Craig Kimbrell that tied that game, that let them get to the point where Jesse Winker hit his home run. But Vientos is a player that has been allowed to develop, and he has developed very well. Similarly, although not the exact same level of success, but Francisco Alvarez, their starting catcher. He's just 22 years old, came up for his big league debut last year. He just ticked over 1 year of service time in Major League Baseball, but Francisco Alvarez had a big walk-off homer at the beginning of the week against the Orioles, and he's another guy that has helped give their lineup a lot of depth. Like, we've seen plenty of lineups now, and when I look at this one of Lindor, Vientos, Nimmo, J.D. Martinez, Alonso, Marte, McNeil, Alvarez, Taylor, it's a pretty good 1-9 lineup, I got to be honest.
Yeah, and you look at the homers, Alonso, 27 home runs, Lindor, 25, Vientos, 20. So they've been hitting it over there. Probably a little, maybe I would say the consistency, maybe not always there, right? But they have some good hitters.
They certainly do. And as such, they're a quality team. Now, do they play the exact level of defense the Padres do? I wouldn't say that. McNeil isn't a lockdown second baseman. They've got Harrison Bader out there in center field on a pretty regular basis, if not Tyrone Taylor.
That could really be the difference in some of these games because the Padres tend to take advantage of any poor defense that happens, or they have, at least in the second half of the season. So they got to be a little careful. The Mets are going to want to be a little careful against these Padres, but their defense is not on. It's not elite by any means.
I agree. And I think what's the real separator between these two teams is the other side of the ball, the pitching staff.
The pitching and the bullpen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, what the Mets have developed, the Mets have put together an entire rotation of, okay. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, no one's bad in the Mets rotation. Everyone's okay. Tonight, Luis Severino, 3.9 ERA. Okay, pretty good. ERA plus is 100. All right, he's doing okay. He's doing pretty well. Sean Manaea has had a great second half of the season, but still 3.5 ERA. Jose Quintana on Sunday shut us out back at Shea, was obnoxious, or Citi Field, pardon me. 4.5 ERA. David Peterson, nice start. 14 starts, 7-1, 3 ERA. He's been up and down for the Mets. They know what they've got in him. He's a 5th, 6th starter. And then you go to the bullpen, Edwin Diaz not having his best year. ERA in the mid-3s. He's a guy in ERA like around 1 or below 1, right? You got the old man Ottavino throwing the sliders, the 38-year-old. And, Jake Diekman hasn't had a good year as a lefty. Jose Buto, Reed Garrett. This is where the Padres have a separator. The Padres have a dominant bullpen. The Mets have an okay bullpen. And for the purpose of this series, I would say, with the Padres putting what would be their playoff rotation out there, Cease today, Musgrove tomorrow, but then you got Martin Perez still to come and Michael King in this series. You're putting your 4 best starters out there. Honestly, I think the Padres have at least they're at least even, if not an edge on the mound every single day.
I think they have an edge. The only thing that I remember is when we did this the first time they faced the Mets, and we looked at Jose Quintana, and like, oh well, old man Quintana, and and it's true. Like, listen, he has an 8.27 ERA in 4 starts this month. Quintana does. 8.27. But he beat the Padres in June, 6 strikeouts over 6 innings of 1-run ball. Like, it's that sort of thing where you're like, we've seen it happen sometimes. These guys look renewed sometimes when they face the Padres. This is a different Padres team than I think than it absolutely is. And the one they faced in June, they're playing with a different kind of identity right now, or at least an identity that's been more formed to this point. So I don't expect that to happen, but they do have pitchers that for some reason, right, like can still pitch well when it's just really inconsistent at times.
When the Padres played the Mets last time, it was the 3rd of the 4 5-game losing streaks that they've had this year.
Yeah.
And the losing streak was loss in New York, loss in Philly, and then they won. Then they won that Philly game, and that started the 12-3 run.
That's right.
For San Diego that got them kind of going once again. But when the Padres played the Mets last time, they were in that slump where they couldn't hit a lefty to save their life.
And that's changed.
It has very much changed. And Bogarts and Solano have been huge parts of the reason why that's changed for the Padres, as well as the improvement of Merrill, who continues to be able to hit both sides.
Absolutely, and that's what I mean. It's almost like a different team that you're seeing right now. Like you're seeing a Padres team that just has a really good sense of who they are, what they do. Doesn't really matter the opponent. They stick with their same approach. They stick with their same identity and their philosophy. And it seems more times than not to work, right? So they've got 4 against these Mets. It's a 4-game series. And I think, I think you go out there and you just kind of continue trying to do what you've been doing this whole time. It's been working for them.
Going to be a fun one. I think it's going to be an intense series.
I think it might get a little chippy or spicy. I think you have players that are going to be real into it on both sides.
Dream scenario for me is that tonight the Padres have one of those exciting games,
A walk-off.
like a late inning, something really
Like
exciting.
Jerkson Profar hits a walk-off.
Jerkson Profar's involved in it. Merrill's involved
around
in
the
it.
bases.
You know, the crowd is hype, and Jesse Winker just gets a little angry. You know, just gets a little perturbed. You know, it's a little gets a little sour feeling in the back of his throat.
He should remember how he blacked out yesterday when he ran the bases. I hope that same fan is in the stands, and I hope for it all. I hope that we get just a good vintage series. You know?
Yeah, I'd really love to see the Padres win the first game of the series, because otherwise the Mets are like, we've got you 4 in a row. We've taken the series. We've taken the season series. We own you guys. Like, let's get to tonight's Dylan Cease. And Dylan Cease was one of the reasons why the Padres were in their flub times at that time was because Dylan Cease was in the stretch of 10 starts with an ERA over 6. And he got hammered in New York. He gave up 7 earnings in New York. That was one of those games. I remember watching that game going, Is his jersey soaked through? Is he sick? Is something going on?
He allowed 7 runs on 7 hits and 3 walks in 3 2/3 innings.
Yeah.
In a loss to the Mets in June.
Got bombed.
Right. So, and he looks much different now
Much
than
different.
he looked during that time. So.
Now, he hasn't exactly been the same since the rain delay, but to me, all that means is he's ready to have a big start tonight. That's honestly what it means to me, because he was fine in Colorado, and then the game got away and his command wavered a little bit. Yeah. The game before that, he was okay. I'm ready to see a vintage Cease start. This is a big matchup advantage today with Cease on the mound.
I think you're going to get a great crowd like Petco always has, and I think it's going to be a one of those series that you like to talk about where the energy is high on both sides.
Yes.
And I think that'll make it pretty fun.
Energy match, when we do it to high energy, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
All right, when we come back, one more segment before we get to Ask Us Anything. And I've got a couple of different things left in the grab bag to get here. How about, just for baseball fun, this was a story that I remember reading and I remember hearing, but yesterday, MLB Network, and we'll pimp a new documentary they got coming out, put the story, oral history that with highlights in a way that I never saw it before. And it's a story that will make you fall in love with not just baseball, but the brains of baseball. How about the smartest pitcher, maybe of all time, Greg Maddux? This is a story about him. We'll tell it when we come back and have his catcher, Eddie Perez, tell the story when we come back right here. Andy and Elsten on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Floor & Decor. Unbeatable prices, unmatched in-stock selection. Floor & Decor has more styles of laminate, vinyl, tile, wood, and stone for anyone looking for the right look at the right price. Your next beautiful space is at Floor & Decor. Floor & Decor. Unbeatable prices, unmatched in-stock selection. Okay. Annie and Elsten back with you. Today I am wearing... Very proud of this. The Binghamton Rumble Ponies in Binghamton, New York.
That's right.
One of these great days in rebranding minor league history. Saturday, they renamed their franchise.
To?
The Binghamton Rumble Pugs.
Oh, you're so happy.
Grumble Pugs, pardon me. Grumble Pugs.
The Grumble Pugs?
Yeah, because see, and this is
That's
a
awesome.
real thing. You know how you have like a school of fish or a pride of lions, right? There's like
Yes.
Flock of falcons.
So
Hostodons.
a group of 3 or more pugs is a grumble.
What?
That is a real thing.
I didn't. Just Grumble, not Grumble Pugs.
No, it's just like if you see a
There
group
goes the
of
grumble.
Yeah, exactly. If
Okay.
you see a bunch of pugs going down the street, that's a grumble of pugs
I never
Grumble
knew
of
that.
pugs.
going down the street,
That'd be so cute. Little pugs
right?
grumbling down
With
the
all
street.
their little, their little piggy noises that they make. So this is the Binghamton Grumble Pugs logo of 3 pugs with a bat between their various mouths.
And little baseball collars. collars.
Little baseball collars along the way. 3 little fawn pugs.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the hat and I got the T-shirt.
An army and Norseman.
That's great stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On the back it says Knight of the Pugs.
Oh,
So
they have the best names. I swear.
they really
Like,
do. Well, who's the Flying Conchlas? I think that's our AA team. Like
Yeah, they the missions flip to the Shanklas every once in a while.
Chunklas. Yeah, right. Chunklas. All good times. All good times.
Trash pandas.
But when Trash
yeah,
Pandas.
Trash Pandas, Space Cowboys.
So when I saw that, I was like, bye.
They got the Rome Emperors.
In cart.
Yeah, exactly. In cart checkout done. So
The Rome Emperors that have an emperor penguin as their mascot.
that's cool.
It's great.
Right? Somebody's like a biscuit too at some point. Like
Yeah,
there's
Montgomery biscuits.
the Montgomery biscuits. Yum.
Even in the tin caps.
Do you
is a
feel
cool
like
name.
Sammy looks at your shirt and hat and says, "Hey, Dad, you like me"?
Right. Yeah, it's just another sign that it's been a good day or two after a one bad night. Me and Sammy the pug. Not
pug.
Sammy Levitt.
Right.
Sammy and I are gold all the time. But it's me and Sammy the pug. Rough Tuesday night. Rough Tuesday night.
Rough Tuesday night.
Very rough.
Uh-huh.
But we resolved things yesterday.
Did you have a little heart to heart?
We did.
Okay.
Little,
Sammy back in the doghouse?
little snout to snout. Oh, he was in the doghouse the whole night
Don't
Tuesday
don't
night.
ask about this.
Oh,
Braden,
no.
he
I
was.
missed this?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, boy.
You did. I went to bed angry Tuesday night, and it was Sam angry. It was
Ate your bagels again?
no, it was tortilla chips this time.
Oh,
I made the argument that Sammy is just doing what dogs do, and
is.
you got to blame the owner on this one.
You do.
Okay.
You do. As Mitzi says every time, I wanted to get him trained. I find this a slightly false narrative that she was like, I think he should get trained. And I'm like, no, he doesn't need to be trained because I don't believe that's actually what happened. But point being, we did get him as a rescue and then we did not take him immediately to obedience. So it is our fault.
He's a survivor.
He is a survivor. He found a way to survive by getting into our closet and eating our stuff.
Yeah. Why is your tortilla chips in your closet?
yeah, wait a minute.
Because
Odd thing.
well, yeah, it was a bag that hadn't been opened yet.
Oh, it was
Craig,
like
Craig gets
kinda
hungry when he picks out
doubling
his
as a
outfits in the morning.
pantry-ish, like kind of, yeah.
Craig's like, which Grumble Pug shirt am I going to wear today? Here, let me eat some tortilla chips. Crunch.
All right.
I noticed you don't have a shirt with Sammy on it.
No, I don't. I could have it. Yeah, if someone wanted to make that custom made, I guess we could do that. But
If you had like a guac stash in there, now we're talking.
Yeah.
I had my guac stuff on yesterday. I was all about the avocado yesterday, but then they lost, so avocado goes away. Okay, a couple quick things here. We're going to get ready for Ask Us Anything coming up in just a few minutes. Here are 2 little grab bag stories. One fun, one a really cool baseball story.
Okay.
And we'll do the baseball story second, Braden, but there's a link for it. Right next to it says great story from Eddie Perez under grab bag. 12:15 segment. Remember the kid for the U.S. men's gymnastics team that was
Glasses kid?
Glasses kid?
Yeah.
Star for a day,
Yes.
right? pommel horse star.
Took off his glasses, did the great pommel horse routine, put him right back on.
Yep.
He was famous.
Steven Netarosik is his name. Steven Netarosik was famous for a minute, and now Steven Netarosik is going on Dancing with the Stars.
No.
Yep. The 25-year-old Netarosik will be part of the celebrity contest. It was announced this morning. It was announced this morning on Good Morning America.
How much money do we think he's going to be part of the celebrity softball tournament at the next All-Star game?
I'd say very, 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 very high chance.
Yeah.
Very high chance. Really, the takeaway I took from this is that Dancing with the Stars is still on the air.
I know. Who knew?
I did not. I did not have any idea. The 33rd season of the show will premiere September 17th. That was such a thing
They have,
in the day.
though, now it's like Dancing with the Stars. I know. I wanted to host that show so bad. No, I wanted to host So You Think You Could Dance. But Dancing with the Stars, now it's like a lot of kind of reality stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
Olympics. I like that. That's a good pick, I think. Like, that's a cool one.
This whole country used to watch that show.
Oh, yeah. It was like appointment viewing.
It truly was. And then oh my God, Emmett Smith won Dancing with the Stars, right? Like
Emmett Smith, yeah.
how big that was. Christy Yamaguchi. Like I remember watching Christy Yamaguchi like every week on Dancing with the Stars and rooting for him. Do I even remember the judge's name still? Just Kariana Naba. That's the one I remember.
No idea.
I just remember Kariana Naba because the announcer had that big voice.
Yes.
Then there was the other guy, their Simon Cowell guy, the super like emotive
giving you
dude.
the tough love.
Yeah. Well, no, they had the stuffy British guy. He was tough love. Carrie Ann Naba was always like, "You did so wonderful. I support you." And then there was the uppity, like high energy, super like, "Oh, I do." I don't remember.
Jocelyn says you can
Bruno,
attend free
thank you.
tapings.
Bruno
This is what
something.
you should do.
Yeah. Bruno Judge. I'll type that in. That'll work. Bruno Tonioli. There we go. Bruno Tonioli.
Good old Bruno.
Kariana Naba. Bruno Tonioli. Anyways, yeah. Gonna watch?
No, but I will. I will see whatever highlights come across the social media streams, and I'm sure I will see. What is his name again?
Steven Netarosik.
I'm sure I will see Steven dance.
Thank you, Elisa. Len Goodman was the British guy. Len Goodman. Bruno Tonioli and Kariana Naba. And I haven't watched in so many years that I have no idea if they've all been replaced by...
Is it even still on like network, or has it moved
I think
to
it's on ABC.
Oh, it is? Okay. Yeah.
I think it's still on ABC.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's I bet you there's somebody who's a line producer on that show that's been there like all 33 years.
Knows all the secrets and where the skeletons are buried. And
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you, Jocelyn. Perfect way to end the segment. Who would be, I think I know the easy answer, but who would be the best Padre to appear on Dancing with the Stars?
I mean, Fernando Tatis Jr.
Right.
But I would go Luis Ariz second. I think Luis Ariz can move.
Think he's got moves?
I think he's got moves. Yeah.
Not Jerickson?
I think Jerickson would do good. He
Only
would do
if he's
well.
jaunty.
Right. Jonty Jerickson.
There's quite a few I think that you could pick from. Who would you take? Jerickson would be a good one.
I mean, it's Tatis. It's Tatis
Yeah,
every
it's Tatis,
day.
yeah.
Every day, twice on Sunday. It's Tatis. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, Solano
Oh yeah,
had some moves.
I could see Solano doing it. I could see Solano having some moves.
I've
David
seen
Peralta.
Peralta. Yeah.
Peralta dances on his Instagram sometimes. He looks like he's got some rhythm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I've seen Cronenworth dance in the City Connect video, so I'm not going to pick him.
I don't know. I'm not
Don't you
sure
know
I've
that
seen
one where he's just doing like this?
Oh.
He looked very uncomfortable while he was doing it. Suarez, I bet you Suarez can really dance.
We're picking all the Latin guys. I mean,
We are picking the Latin.
Yeah.
Why are we
Well,
picking the Latin
Right.
guys?
So let's go with also like Joe Musgrove. Maybe he could.
You think?
I mean.
I feel like he's dancing to country and western.
Okay.
Xander.
Xander. Well, here we go
Xander.
again. Xander. Yes.
It's so obviously Tatis.
Nobody's saying Tanner Scott. I mean,
What if there was though, like,
Just leaving
what if
him
there
out.
is like a dark horse and it is like Tanner Scott or something, or it's Brian Hoeing or something?
yeah, it's definitely Michael King,
and,
right?
and we see
Oh,
Michael King.
100% it's
He's
not
got
Michael
the,
King.
No, I feel like he's got the sister
think?
that does the singing. That she's a recording artist, so maybe
Yeah.
he's got maybe he's had some lessons. He could get
Brian Hoeing's the Costco guy. He can't be the dancing guy too.
Yeah.
Jackson. Why are we not thinking of Jackson?
Jackson Merrill could probably
Jackson
do it.
could pull this off.
Fair.
Jackson Merrill could pull this off.
Fair. Okay. Still Toddy, though.
Higgy.
Toddy would probably win.
Hickey.
Why did
that's what I
nobody
mean.
say
like, what
Kyle
if there's like some
Higashioka?
Kyle Higashioka guy that's just like,
I
the
could
music
dance.
turns on and he just hits it.
Hi, this is Kyle Higashioka with an exciting announcement. I am dancing the foxtrot on Dancing with the Stars. Come see more exciting announcements about this soon.
But then the music starts.
Yeah.
And it's like, the guy's
you-
phenomenal.
I would love that so much. If he's got like just that dancing gene inside him and it just needs to come out. And like he's so reserved about everything else.
Yeah.
But then you put on the tap shoes and he just goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Tony Gwynn Jr.? Maybe.
I don't know. I would. He might have some dancing skills.
He might.
I don't think Ello does. Do you?
I
He had
I
the
don't think he
singing
does.
telegram.
He can sing. He could sing while Tony danced.
Ben and Woods. I think I'd probably.
I'd go with the big no on both.
Woods,
Yeah, I'd go with a big no across the board. Sam Levitt probably has better moves than you think. Probably, but also probably not the confidence in his dancing moves yet. Probably need to get him spun up a little bit, and then he'll go cut that rug. And this has been our Padres dancing draft.
Save it for the next week's roundtable.
Yeah, that should have been Ben's question.
Who says it won't be next year?
right,
He's
right.
always
True.
listening. He's always listening in. It very well could be. All right, let's take our last break. When we come back, I didn't get to the Greg Maddux story. We'll do it tomorrow. It certainly holds. But there's a new documentary coming out about Greg Maddux, and within it, they verify one of the greatest stories. I think I read it when they did the best pitcher of the second half of the century story in Sports Illustrated, a while ago. But a story of how Greg Maddux set up a playoff at bat against Jeff Bagwell of the Astros literally months in advance.
That's cool.
Months
Yeah.
in advance.
You hear kind of their strategy and the way that they look at it.
Yeah. And now the
that
catcher
stuff's
wasn't
really
involved.
cool.
And the catcher was
Yeah.
like, What are you doing? Why are you doing this? And he goes, this team's good. We're going to see him again, and he's going to remember this pitch.
I think it's really cool when, we see Blake Snell and other players, they keep the notebook, they keep the notebook so that they can remember facing guys and what some notes for the next time they see them and
Yeah.
stuff. And it's cool to hear kind of some of the ways that they think of it after they've faced someone and then they know they're going to face them again.
Well, we're out of time is why I need money. He goes, how are we just going to skip this? Because we got to go to break. And Adam Paul, yes, we briefly mentioned the NWSL deal. I think we'll get into it more tomorrow as we preview Wave, because Wave takes on Angel City tomorrow. But they've got a brand new deal, and it basically puts them in line in a smaller scale to what the EPL does or La Liga or other leagues. And it's going to be huge for their ability to recruit international talent. All right. And you're right. Yeah, we talked instead about which Padres are the best dancers. So sue us. This segment of Free Radio brought to you by us talking about dancing. Also brought to you by Express Employment Professionals. If your supply chain demands a flexible workforce, hire with Express Employment Professionals. With contract and full-time workers from Express Employment, you get the staff you need and manage contingent labor costs. Learn more at expresspros.com. That's expresspros.com. All right, when we come back, it's time to ask us anything. You've got 7 minutes to call the show, 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Come prepared with a question to ask Annie and I. And we'll come back and do it next and wrap up the show on The Fan. Welcome back, everybody. It's Annie and Elsten. Just a couple minutes left in the show. If you want to give us a call, you can. 833-288-0973, and we'll get you right up on the air. A quick reminder that coming up next, it's Gwen and Chris. And it's not just Gwen and Chris. It's Gwen and Chris live from Casa Octavio, just a few minutes away from the ballpark. If you have any reason to be down in the gas lamp over the course of the afternoon, why not drop by, say hi to Chris Ellos, say hi to Matt Scraby. Of course, Tony Gwynn Jr. will be on the show. He'll just be inside Petco Park as he's getting ready to announce the game tonight. But they have 3 pairs of tickets to tonight's game that they will be giving away over the course of 2.5 hours on the air. So absolutely worth it for you to come on down and check out what's going on with Gwen and Chris at Casa Octavio, and they will get ready with their live broadcast. They'll get underway in just about 10 minutes.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to us doing some playoff remotes out there.
Yeah. And Screaminator night was last night.
It was.
I don't know how it went. I'm sure it went great. I mean, it was a loss, but still, I'm sure they had fun.
The Spiro's food, I heard, delicious.
How could it not be?
Right.
Yep.
Enjoy Spiro's. And enjoy the game. Not so much. The great thing about being in a suite is when the game absolutely stinks, you could just go back into the inside part
Yeah.
of the suite and just talk or have a beer.
Hang
or
out. Right.
Yeah, enjoy some more Mediterranean cuisine.
And you're watching a game for free.
Right.
So,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, everyone except the Waldron family could just get over that game pretty quickly. For Matt Waldron, it was a little bit of a tougher
Burned
go.
a little longer. Right.
Yeah, it hurt just a tad bit more. But we're looking for big things from Dylan Cease. First and foremost tonight, I would love this to be a Dylan Cease shoves and reminds you why he's a number 1 starter in Major League Baseball kind of night.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, again, this team is pretty locked in right now in terms of just understanding what, their road is, their path is, and what kind of team they are. And to me, it doesn't look like that focus is letting up anytime soon. So I think you're going to go out there and you're going to see some well-fought games. Bless you, Braden.
Bless you as well, Braden. Elisa has a question for Ask Us Anything. When is the Annie and Elsten Sweet Night?
Yeah, don't know.
Adam?
Pick a date.
When's the Annie and Elsten Sweet Night?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Jake has a question, too. When will Braden host a Sweet Night at Petco?
The Braden Soprano show?
The Braden Soprano Show Sweet
no.
Night.
I got a lot
When
going
football
on.
season's over.
Yeah, maybe next year.
Next May.
Yeah.
Get the Bradenators out there with the Scrabinators.
We're better off doing an Aztec suite game.
Yeah.
Hey, we haven't talked any thoughts on Danny O'Neill, true freshman, being the starting quarterback?
I think it's interesting, obviously, but he was Sean Lewis's guy. He recruited to go to Colorado, and I heard it was a very even race between him and then the kid from Florida State, who was also relatively young. So they're going with the freshman, trying to build upon that, and we'll see what they got.
And create their own identity, their own culture there with that. Well, when is their first game? I don't know.
Next Saturday.
Next Saturday.
Yeah, next
Okay.
Saturday.
Well, yeah,
August
talk more
31st,
about
they
that, yeah.
play Texas A&M Commerce.
Texas A&M
Commerce.
Commerce.
Yeah.
All of the excellent business students at Texas A&M
Commerce.
will be taking on the Aztecs. The football players go to Texas A&M.
I'm looking forward to watching their new look. Their
No, me too.
new
I will
look offense
have
and Sean Lewis and
A full, like I tell my TCU friends, I will have a full evaluation on what I think the season is going to look like after week 1.
Okay.
When I could see them play and be like, all right, even though they're playing Texas A&M Commerce, they're doing these things well, but they don't look very good here. Shout out to my guy, Tano Latuli, who is now top 20 in all NIL earners in the country
wow.
for his T-shirt and jersey sales. He's on the billboards here, which is great. It's transfer from Army, Cathedral Catholic Dawn, middle linebacker for the Aztecs.
Good for him.
He's getting tons of people buying his T-shirt jersey thing. So in terms of that NIL, he's top 20. It's not like he has this gigantic contract.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Right,
Yeah.
but in terms of selling, because everybody's got their own jersey
Yeah.
/ T-shirt you could sell on websites, he is in the top 20 earners in the country on that for NIL. So congrats to Tano.
All right.
We're proud of you.
That's awesome.
Like normally when I think of a true freshman quarterback starting, that means like, okay, this is the year we're not picked to win a lot. This is the year he gets sacked, 58 times.
The over-under is 4.5 wins.
4.5. Really? That's it.
I would take the over, but you start going through the schedule, it might be a little tough. You never know.
If we beat this commerce school, does that count as a win?
Yeah, it does.
Well, then, yeah, give me the over.
I would take the over too. We'll see how they look in the first game.
And a little Aztecs talk wraps things up. That's normally the province of Gwen and Chris, but they're right along. Live from Casa Octavio. Stay right here, friends. Up the dads. Let's go, Padres. For Annie and Braden, I'm Craig. See ya.